the best of Joel Embiid in the first round, and then when we get to the second round, the availability issue certainly kind of rears its head again.
I'm going to tell you guys a story. Last season, we walk into a meeting, and we have Detroit. We have Philadelphia at Detroit, myself, Mark Jones, Katie George on the call for the game. And we're having a discussion before Nick Nurse comes into the meeting. And the discussion is about particular players. And so when Nick Nurse comes into the meeting, the first thing he has is, wait. Does he play games? Because if he doesn't play games, we don't want him. Best ability is availability. Not playing games is the reason why Daryl Morey's out of a job. Because at the end of the day, when you bring in players in an organization and they don't show up and play enough games, to Bobby's point about the different number of starting lineups, the different number of players that have played on the Philadelphia roster, that gets coaches, that gets general managers fired. And when you look at the draft prospects and you look at different guys who haven't played for whatever reason, how much of that do you take into account when drafting these guys?
Well, I think it's important. I think it's a kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, we can go back to John Morant in 2019, and John Morant was as healthy as it can be at Murray State, and then he came into the league, and there was the durability. There was no issues with durability, and now, all of a sudden, that's the big question here. So, I think where you're drafting at 22, I think you want a guy that's available to you. I think for their roster, they've got to get younger. I think they've got to get some more athleticism. You saw with their backcourt with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe what can happen when you have those young players on your roster.
I know Bob Myers is going to, when he's going to sit down with these candidates, he's going to see what ideas do they have, team building, how can you change the team. But listen, the reality is this. Bobby, you know the numbers better than I do. Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George, a combined $153 million in salary next season. Joel Embiid, Paul George on max deals for the next few years there. So the reality of real significant change in Philadelphia, probably unlikely. But you have your backcourt of the future with Edgecombe and Maxey, and you move forward now with a new vision, and that's something Bob Myers is going to lead.
I'll throw one more note out before you go, Coach. Next year, when you add VJ Edgecombe into the mix, who's on a rookie contract, 87% of their salary cap is tied up in 4 players. It's a big number, and it's hard to kind of add around the margins. You're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to find some undrafted players, some guys who are willing to come and take the veteran minimum, and then also, as I said, kind of address the Oubre and Grimes free agents.
How do you address, Bobby, I'm asking you this. You inherit, as a general manager, a roster that has handcuffs. Right. How do you navigate that with expectation, and do you have the ability to sit with Bob, because Bob understands it in a different way, and say, Bob, how can we move X, Y, and Z, and what can we get? We know we're not going to get dollar for dollar because of the time that they are in their career and the value in terms of their contracts. But we've got to find a way to get draft capital. We've got to find a way to get younger. We've got to find a way. The process is in the rearview mirror. We just got to find a way to have stability. How hard is that to do in the market today?
Well, it's hard if, listen, if you were desperate and you want to just start attaching draft capital to some of these high-cost players, anybody can do that. I don't think you want to be in a position all of a sudden to attach draft picks to Joel Embiid or Paul George's contract. I think that's something you don't want to do here. But listen, everybody's got to. There's a market for every player out there. It's in this day and age, in this collective bargaining agreement, when you have players that are not available who are making north of $50 million, that's hard. And the league, not just Philadelphia, the league recognizes that as far as where they are. There's only 2 teams that have players earning more than $40 million next year. Philadelphia is one of them. That's hard to work around there.
Bobby or Shams, I mean, the reality is we're here at the draft combine. The draft is 6 weeks away. There's never a good time to part with someone like a general manager. How is Philly approaching this draft? It's 6 weeks from now.
So, I mean, right now they got to figure out their head of basketball operations. But the reality is they've got a staff there that's been working, that's been scouting. And so it's going to be upon the new head of basketball to then figure out who your next, staff is going to be. That's the first priority. Nick Nurse is staying on, though, as head coach.
Bob, how much input will Nick Nurse have in reshaping this roster? Obviously, how much say does he have in that process?
Well, he's got to coach these guys.
Exactly.
It was the legendary Bill Parcells line, hey, if we're going to go shop with.
Cook the meal?
Yeah,
Go for the groceries.
Go pick up the groceries and stuff. And he understands as far as what fits and what doesn't fit. But they've got to add to their bench. Their bench is certainly a priority here, because what you need is when Joel Embiid is not available, you have to have an insurance policy of a player that can kind of step up here. And I go back to what Boston's got: Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White on these big contracts, but they still were able to go get Neemias Queta, who was in a second round on a 2A eventually through Sacramento, Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez, Baylor Shireman, Luka Garza in free agency. Those guys make $13 million combined. So there's still ways that you can go out and do it, but you just have to rely on your personnel department.
That's the biggest thing I think the Sixers moving forward is having a leadership and a voice that has full alignment, right? So Bob Myers comes in before last season, and so bringing someone in that aligns with the future.
And we'll see who that will be over the next few weeks. Shams is going to continue to work the crowd here. We've got news about Giannis and the Bucks coming up that we'll get to throughout the course of the afternoon here. Bobby's going to hang with us. We've got the first quarter in the books in our first scrimmage from Chicago, and we're coming right back.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond by manufacturing prosthetic leg belts that allow for greater flexibility of movement. Michelin, motion for life.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much did we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Behr Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Modelo tastes good, but that got the electrical working Modelo. That landed the trick Modelo. Or that can finally sit down Modelo. The one you earned is just better. That Modelo is the mark of a fighter.
Same-day delivery for free. For real. Members get more at Lowe's.
Baseball is about the sights and sounds, the excitement, the heartbreak. But to see the game, you've got to be there. And CarShield's nationwide protection means getting to your favorite ballpark, backyard barbecue, that place with the good nachos, or your buddy's man cave is always in play. For over 20 years, CarShield's helped baseball fans save money on car repairs. America's favorite pastime deserves America's most trusted auto protection. And when it's time to get back on the road, CarShield will be there.
Playoffs are here, fellas. This has to be spotless.
What kind of big dummy put his handprint up there?
Shaq, you left your handprint up here?
What's the 7'6" kid that plays for San Antonio?
Wembanyama.
Yeah, it was him. I think we found him. Shut up, Charles.
Inside the NBA lives on ESPN and ABC.
The stars of today meet the stars of tomorrow. The NBA Draft, a 2-day event on ESPN and ABC.
6 weeks away, but we've got NBA playoff basketball tonight on ESPN. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Cavs and Pistons from Detroit. It tips at 8 Eastern following NBA tip-off at 7. You can watch it on ESPN. Stream the game on the ESPN app. We're here in Chicago, the NBA Draft Combine. We're so fortunate to have the wisdom of Jeremy Wu, our ESPN mock draft coming your way right now. Jeremy's got A.J. Bonsa going at 1, followed by Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, Keaton Wadler. Much discussion to come about what that order looks like. Some interesting comments earlier today from the projected #1 overall pick.
Yeah, so I'm going to have interviews this morning with different teams. And, I mean, I never had a job before. So, I mean, I was 13, started taking basketball serious. But this is like my first job interview. So my dad's kind of like, you go, this is your job interview. So, you know, come professional, come suit. Try to come true.
Pretty good entry-level job he's about to have, huh?
You know, it's interesting. I talk to AJ's dad all the time. It was pretty much every day. And Ace asked me, hopefully they're going to join us later on the set. And Ace asked me, what do we wear? And I said, well, we'll be in polos, but you wear, he says, never mind. AJ will be suited up.
Well, listen, having sat in those rooms before, and I've seen players wear all different. I had, no offense, we had Tony Snell in one time for our winter, and Tony he came in all with a suit on, and what happened was the AC broke in the room, and by the time he left, he basically was in a full drenched sweat and everything. So I hope for AJ, I hope the AC was working in that room.
Well, the worst part is you didn't draft Tony.
We did not.
All right, we're choosing comfort, hopefully, for AJ here. Our draft insider, Jeremy Woo, is here. I think a lot of us came in thinking 1-2, it's up in the air. I think a lot of us left yesterday thinking AJ might just be the guy. You say that there's a little bit more conversation at 1 and 2, Jeremy. Why is that?
Well, Kevin, I think the biggest thing to remember, all season, Darren came into the year. I had him projected number 1. A lot of people around the league viewed him as the number 1 pick. Obviously, he had a weird year. Things got weird. But, this is the time of year. Everybody goes back. You look at the tape. You kind of review everything. You get to in front of these kids. From talking to people around the gym, NBA execs last few days, no one is treating this as a foregone conclusion that AJ is going number 1. There's a process for the Wizards. They're going to have to, I think they'll bring everybody in. They will look at all the options, but this has always been wide open. For AJ, I think I could feel the winds changing a little bit in February and March from talking to people. The consensus maybe shifted a little bit where he was the favorite, but that's not the same thing as being consensus 1, right? Wembanyama is a consensus 1. Cooper Flagg, consensus 1. For AJ, Darren, and Cam Boozer is in that mix. Some people love Caleb Wilson, but this is a really strong draft. I think there are 4 candidates. So,
how much misinformation is out there? Like, how much do the decision makers misinform to kind of keep people on their toes and see what else is out there, knowing in the back of their mind they're going to make a certain decision?
Well, I'll put it this way: if you're Washington, you want to bring everybody in. I don't know that they will trade back, but you want to maintain that leverage, right? Like, you don't want people to know exactly what you're doing. Now, they may know, they may have an inkling, but, we still got a month to go. And I think you play it as close to the vest as you can, right, strategically. You don't want to tip your hand. You want to maintain, some image of, we're still deciding, and, maybe someone calls you, maybe someone you like, you can move back and get them, right? So there's elements to this that have to play out.
Jeremy, what was it early in the year that made you make DP 1? What was it about Darren Peterson to where you said he is the top prospect and AJ is 2? I've spent a lot of time with AJ over the years, nowhere near as much with DP. But I know AJ was at the Hoop Summit. AJ played in all the spots where the scouts were. We didn't often see Darren Peterson there except for at the McDonald's All-American game. What was that you saw in Darren Peterson where you said, I believe this is the top guy?
Yeah, well, I saw him at Chipotle Nationals last year, and he played a couple games there. There were a lot of scouts there. And, as the season's gone on, I see these people all the time on the road, and we remember that, right? Like, that sticks in your mind. Like, when you see those games where Darren got to that level, I was at the BYU-Kansas game. You saw, you guys, we all saw, right? We see what it looks like when Darren can tap into that top level. Now, he wasn't there all the time, but when he's at that level, that's the best player in the draft, and it's not close. Now, how often does he get there? It's a fair question, but traditionally when you're picking number 1, you're like, who has the highest upside, right? And I would argue he has the highest upside. Now, that may not be what happens, and I think AJ definitely helped himself with the way the year went for him. He peaked at the right time. We all saw him at the Big 12 tournament. He was excellent. He's an excellent prospect. But I think, both these things, we perceive time in this fashion, right? Like, everyone's trajectory is a straight line, like, going up, but sometimes we see it goes up and down. Darren, it was up, it was down, and now maybe it's back up. We'll see.
Bart, for both of you guys, how his support system, his leadership group is saying he wants to play the point guard. How does that factor in where here all of a sudden you're having his representation say, well, we want him to play at the point? How does that factor into that decision-making process, and how do you approach that in the interview process?
I think in this day and age, I grew up with Jason Kidd on our team in New Jersey, and he was kind of the ultimate point guard, and Stephon Marbury and stuff. I think we're kind of transitioning a little bit. Yeah, we're kind of transitioning a little bit away from that, from point guards a little bit. You see sometimes bigs bring up the court, and you can play through bigs and everything like that. So I think the biggest thing for what Darren will go through is not really what goes on here in Chicago, is when he goes and visits the Wizards, and he's on the court with Brian Keefe, and they can kind of put him through different actions and kind of figuring out his basketball IQ, or in Utah with Will Hardy, and kind of showing as far as, hey, let's watch tape on Keontae George. How would you fit in with him? Or even the limited action with Trae Young. And that's a lot of things that teams are doing now. They get you on the whiteboard, and they get you in a room almost like the NFL, where you're actually watching tape of yourself and also that team during the course of the season.
Yeah, and I would add, too, coming into the year, I mean, I viewed him as a guy who was going to play on the ball, right? And like you said, in the NBA now, it's kind of who has the ball at the end of the game, and it's your best player. He's probably going to be that guy. So whether he's a point guard, whether he's a combo, it doesn't really matter so much to me. But it was interesting at Kansas, the way he was used. He was playing off the ball more. At Prolific Prep his junior year, he ran a lot of pick and roll. Like, teams have come to me, they were confused by it too, in terms of, why does this look different? And some of it had to do with, I think, the physical stuff with him. Like, obviously, we could see he wasn't all there athletically, based on the level we've seen him be at. But that's something to keep in mind too. Is that was something teams felt pretty good about coming in the year, that he could play on the ball. And even though we didn't see it, as he goes into these workouts, that's something that'll be an emphasis, just showing that.
I want to ask you quickly, Jeremy, we've talked about the lottery being potentially the best of all time. Generational talent there. How would you describe the rest of the draft?
Yeah, well, I think they're really good candidates. It's a strong top 10, right? And you've got guys like Nate Ament, like Michael Brown, who came into the year. We had them in the mix as maybe top 5 picks. Maybe they'll go a little bit further down now. So you get an opportunity to maybe get a guy who was a top 5 talent. The way that it's shaped up, maybe a little bit later, but the talent is still there, right? So normal draft, I think, when you get to the teens, NIL is going to sap some of these guys. They'll go back to school. But the lottery at the top, you feel very good.
Great insight from Jeremy Woo. You can catch Jeremy's stuff on ESPN.com and throughout the course of the day today. Day 2 of the NBA Draft Combine. We're going to check in on some of the action, talk about some of the players who have starred so far through the first quarter and a half here in Chicago.
Howdy, Roadrunner. You're very fast.
Well, I drink Red Bull.
But you do realize...
Yes, Red Bull gives you wings, but, I'm scared of heights.
Oops.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Summer Edition, with the taste of Sudachi Lime. Wings for your summer.
The PGA of America, more than 30,000 strong. The golf professionals who love the game and dedicate their careers to helping us love it too. At Aronimink, 20 PGA of America pros step away from their golf facilities and into the spotlight as players. This is their moment to realize a dream as they compete against the world's best in a major championship. Join me in cheering for the Corebridge Financial team at the PGA Championship.
Over 80 tests, over 850 hours.
Before it travels the world, it gets pushed to the limit.
Drop tested, mileage tested, performance tested.
Compressed, pulled, dropped again.
Tested, then tested again. Because durability isn't claimed, it's earned.
Built to move, built to last.
That's the Away upgrade. You deserve to get away.
Chipotle Honey Chicken is back. Step into summer with fresh grilled chicken, spicy Chipotle peppers, and the perfect touch of pure honey. Open the summer with Chipotle Honey Chicken. It's taking heat and sweet to a whole new level.
Instacart helps me get home so fine. Thick or thin, no need to read my mind. Honey glazed in a Dijon dream. Just wanna make my sandwich sing.
Welcome back to the AWS NBA Draft Combine from Chicago, where scrimmages are underway. We've seen Ruben Chinyelu, the big man out of Florida, 9 points, 3 rebounds in the early action. Baba Miller has 8 points, leading the way for Team Adams here. One of the more intriguing teams in this NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks, 3 picks overall, as they take part in a rebuild here. Picks number 8 and 23 in the first round. We've moved Bobby off the set into the crowd to have a nice chat here with Hawks general manager Ansi Saleh.
Woo!
All right, I'm joined with Ansi Saleh, the general manager of the Atlanta Hawks. How we doing?
Oh, doing great, man. Chicago's always the funnest time of year, I feel like.
So 20-6 after the All-Star break. What'd you learn about your roster in the second half of the season and certainly in the playoffs?
Yeah, I feel like we got a resilient group, a group that really meshed well together. That's a young group as well that's growing and developing together. Really excited for what Quinn has been doing and how he's been developing our guys. And, you know, Nikhil winning Most Improved Player back-to-back with Dyson. That's, I think, the first time in NBA history that's happened. And, you know, to get to the playoffs, not the way we wanted to end the last game, but you know what? We won 2 games against a really, really good team. And I think that experience being the first time for a lot of our guys is going to be really important for next year.
So you guys enter the draft process in a unique position. You and Oklahoma City are the only 2 playoff teams with a lottery pick. Talk a little bit about the process. You also have a late first-round pick also, but the impact that this draft could have on your roster here.
Yeah, we're really big fans of this draft. Like a lot of people probably say that, but the freshman class that has come in has, I think, impacted winning on a historic level. A lot of good upperclassmen as well. There's a lot of different things we could do with our 2 picks, but it's really important because like we do have a young group, and just adding to that and the timeline that we're on just makes a lot of sense with our development program.
I know you also have a second-round pick also here, and I think certainly in the day of NIL and players going back, it's changed the thought process than maybe when you were with San Antonio and certainly Golden State. But the value of the 5-on-5, the value of meeting prospects that are maybe not projected to be in that first round. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Oh, it's so important. There's guys that pop sometimes that you didn't know could do certain things because of the role they had on their college team as well. To have that demonstrated in this environment kind of gives you a nice little view of what could be. And then the interviews are it's your first touch point with a lot of these players. So getting to know them is really important because if you know the makeup of your chemistry of your team, adding somebody new to that, you don't want to mess that up either. But you want to add to the culture, and there's a lot of good ones in this draft.
I appreciate it. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Cool. Thanks, Bob.
Back to you, Kevin.
All right, Bobby, thanks. Some great insight from the man calling the shots in Atlanta, Ansi Saleh. That's an interesting spot to be picking here. We've talked about the top 10 being so heavy, and we've spent so much time talking about the top 4. A lot of intrigue there at number 8, Corey.
I've had the Atlanta Hawks 4 times this year, 2 playoff games against the Knicks. The Hawks need a change of pace, right? They have settled in, and rightfully so, that Jalen Johnson will be their primary playmaker.
Terrific.
He's been an all-star. He is elite. C.J. McCollum carried them, especially in Game 2 at the Garden, his heroics at the end. But C.J. McCollum is nearing the end of his career. He's not there yet. Nickeil Alexander-Walker off the ball. They also need size up front.
Yeah.
So when you look at which direction do they go, you've got to take the best possible either smaller scoring guard that can change the pace, because Quinn Snyder wants to play fast.
And by the way, Jeremy Wu has them taking Michael Brown Jr.
Michael Brown Jr. would be a great option for the Hawks. But also you have to look at, is there someone with size up front that gives you another lob threat as well as a defender? And again, this may be too high, but the way that we've seen a guy like Morez Johnson perform with his athleticism here at the Combine, he's still torn as to whether or not he goes back to Michigan. But if you get an athlete like that, and he showed he can shoot the basketball, and that's one of the things Onyeka was able to do this year for Atlanta, knocking down threes. If you go get another guy in that shape, in that form, look at what Jalen Duren's doing. He's not even shooting the 3 for Detroit. Yeah. If you can find a value like that, that may be the route you go with that number 8 pick to shore up what's already a strong roster.
I'm not mad about that, but I also would say the other Michigan big guy could also find his way there, too, in Mara. Mara's size and his lob threat at the rim, all of a sudden he starts to move himself up. He shot the ball a little bit better yesterday than I think a lot of people would have expected him to. And then his passing and his playmaking ability with the ball in his hands.
Let's not forget a guy like Steinbeck, though. It might be a little high, but the way that he played at Washington, I mean, his ability to be able to rebound, it gives you that size you were talking about, Corey. But he also showed flashes that he could step back and pop, be a pick and pop big.
He's only 20% three-point shooter, really, but his release is good.
Yeah.
Mara's interesting. It's just hard to take a Mara at 8, don't you think?
Yeah.
All right, we got a break in the action here. When we come back, we're going to chat about one of the guys who's been playing great in this game, but may not be hanging around in this draft. That's coming up next.
Modelo tastes good, but that first degree in the family, Modelo. That promotion, Modelo. Or that traveled all day to surprise Abuela, Modelo. The one you earned is just better. That Modelo is the mark of a fighter.
With all these Hilton Honors points, I could stay for free. At the Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives. What about the Canopy in Paris?
Hilton Honors, babe. When you want points that can take you anywhere, anytime, it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
Does Inez want a $4 sausage biscuit meal deal or a sausage McMuffin meal deal? Sausage McMuffin. Get more value with your $4 breakfast meal deal from McDonald's.
You ever hear a city hum like it's got a story to tell? That's Nashville.
Your upgrade is ready, Miss Langley.
My upgrade? See y'all later. Guys, look at this one. See how she sounds. You think you could beat me and beat that? Oh! Drinks on me. Never met anyone like you.
Experience the sounds of Nashville with the card that's even more rewarding. Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much do we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Behr Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
We're back at the NBA Draft Combine, and while we've been yapping, Ruben Chinyelu's been doing what Ruben Chinyelu does. 4 of 7 from the field, 9 points to lead all scorers in this opening scrimmage, 3 rebounds as well. Sean, he's the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. We had the opportunity to chat with Yaxel Lendeborg yesterday, who may be the poster child for players coming to go through this process and having options based off of what they've done here and what the intelligence that they get. Ruben Chinyelu's a guy who's in that spot.
Yeah, he's going to find himself exactly in that same spot this year as far as the decision whether or not to go back. Again, next year's draft not necessarily as deep or as strong as this year's draft has been. What has impressed me most about while I was offset watching is just his awareness of not trying to do too much. We were talking about it earlier before we came on air, is playing to your strengths. And that is what he's done a really good job of in this game, setting massive screens, communicating defensively, switching out on guards, and then rebounding the basketball and finishing around the hoop.
He's the best ball screen defender if he stays in the draft of any of the bigs. His ability to cover ball screens, get out, recover, get back into play, switch short clock, protect the front of the rim. Defensively, his impact is ridiculous. On the glass, his impact is ridiculous. And if he does come back to college, that front court might be one of the best front courts in the history of college basketball.
Hey, I'm looking at the numbers, and all that you guys are saying, I agree with you 100%. But a 7 foot 7.5 inch wingspan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is lottery potential. Because as you mentioned, the fact that he can guard, he can switch ball screens. That's all you ask a big to do in a switch is be able to guard for 2 to 3 seconds. Because by that time, even if you get beat with a 7 and a 7.5 inch wingspan, you blocking that.
Which is what he did all season.
I mean, your range to be able to defend areas. I mean, we're talking like Victor Wembanyama like type length. I mean, he's like 9 feet, but no, we won't talk about that. But again, his ability to defend, and that's what you're looking for with a big. You're not concerned about throwing them the basketball on the block anymore. Those days are really over. you're looking at guys who can switch ball screens and help you on the defensive end of the floor and be a lob threat as well.
Vanessa Richardson courtside. Vanessa, what do you got on Ruben Chinyelu?
Well, I spoke to his agent just a few minutes ago. He said no matter what decision he makes, it'll be a good one. He started playing basketball so late in life compared to most, age 14. So he's been able to consume, digest, and evolve a lot in the past few years. He said it's almost been like a crash course, but he has learned very quickly, guys.
King, if you're advising Ruben Chinyelu, I mean, there's millions either way. Where do you go?
You know, if I'm him, I might come back to school. I mean, I think that you do provide value in the first round. I think that you have a chance. But when we talk about after pick number 10, right, we talk about the money that he would be offered to go back to Florida. I mean, for me personally, I'd probably stay. Just that's me because I want to play in the league. But when we talk about money, it really depends on what this young man wants. Does he want the opportunity to go to the next level, or does he want more money? Because I think he might get more money if he goes back to school.
He's going to get to the league no matter what. It's just when he gets to the league.
Yeah.
And Corey, we've had this conversation off air, but if you're after 20 or 20, what's the cutoff number in terms of the NBA draft where a player says, wait a second, fiscally irresponsible to stay in the draft in relation to what I could make at Florida and what my value would be next year as a higher draft choice?
I would say those last 5 first-round picks. But let me give you guys a story about an old guy that was playing basketball before King was born. So my 3rd year at the University of Virginia, I'm headed to the draft. I'm gone as soon as the season ends. We already know it. I break my ankle the first game of the season, right? So at the end of the year, my coach, you know him very well, Dennis Wolf, says to me, hey, listen, the Knicks are going to take you they got 2 first-round picks. They're going to take you at 21, 23, right? I'm thinking, I'm out of here. I didn't play this year, but I'm going to the NBA. My people talk to me. They say, hey, look, if you go back to school, you'll be a lottery pick again next year the way you were supposed to be this year. I go back to school. I play the first 19 games of the season. Game 20, I break the same ankle, same spot. I go 29. There's no guarantee that you go back, that it's going to be better next year. And again, I understand, everybody's point because the money is there. But when you are an NBA level talent,
and he is,
yes,
no doubt,
there is a chance for you to be able to get there, get developed, and more importantly, get to that second contract a year earlier.
They've hit the half here inside Wintrust Arena. Team Carpenter, a 16-point halftime lead. Taurus Reed with 7 points. Baba Miller's got 8. We haven't talked about him.
I would also say, though, Jaden Bradley has had an outstanding first half. Looking at a guard and what you want to see from them in this setting. He's got 5 assists, 0 turnovers. He's played good defense. We all know he's a good on-ball defensive player from what he showed at Arizona this year.
But that's what we should expect from the Big 12 Player of the Year. Elite leader, elite defender, a great play starter, and a guy that, in my opinion, will make an NBA roster.
One of the stars of the SEC, Dalen Swain, led Texas in scoring, rebounding, and assists. He's standing by with Vanessa.
Dalen, so many front offices and decision makers here. What are you hoping to show them today?
Honestly, just being able to play team ball, play together with players from all across the country, just building chemistry in one day. We all met each other today, but I think we're playing pretty good and showing that off well.
Your athleticism was always on full display at Texas. What parts of your game do you think translate the best to the NBA?
Definitely athleticism, defensive versatility, being able to grab the ball on a defensive rebound, push it up the court, make plays for myself and others.
Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Vanessa, thanks. Dalen Swain and Team Carpenter with a 16-point halftime lead. We see Sean Miller there, his college coach, in attendance today. Malik Brown leading all scorers with 11 points in that first half. Taurus Reed with 7. Baba Miller with 8 leading the way for Team Adams. We're coming back to Chicago at the NBA Draft Combine right after this.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much do we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond. With airless tires designed for exploring new frontiers. Michelin, motion for life.
Okay, so we're at the film festival, middle of Kirk City. The doors open, and bam, Sapphire Reserve premiere party.
These trips are the best. At Race Week, the lounge was right next to the pit. In Paris, we went to exclusive events at incredible restaurants. Plus, nights on the Seine. Heaven. Experience once-in-a-lifetime trips to the most exciting places with Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Deliverers, it's time to deliver meals with a great taste of Gold Peak Real Brewed Tea. Fried chicken, salads, pizza. This is about tea so good. It's gold. Gold Peak Real Brewed Tea for real meals.
You want to see great players? We've got that. You want to see excitement? We've got that. Oh, not quite. Shot of a lifetime. Tremendous shot. That's a beauty. I just don't know what else you could ask for.
The PGA Championship, Thursday through Sunday, live on ESPN and the ESPN app.
We're back on a beautiful day in Chicago, Illinois. The elevated trains here, one of the hallmarks of the city, and basketball going on inside Wintrust Arena. If Braden Smith is playing, chances are he's racking up assists, the all-time assist leader in Division I history. More than 1,100 in his career. Back-to-back seasons with 500 points, 300 assists, 125 rebounds. In what is a loaded lead guard, point guard, however you want to call it, NBA draft. Darren Peterson, we've discussed his want to play the point guard position at the NBA level. Seth Greenberg, Corey Alexander, and King McClure back here with us. I guess the conversation, Coach, a lot of teams are having is, who's the best of that point guard crop?
It really depends on what you're looking for, what type of point guard you're looking for. Are you looking for a combination guard or a ball guard? Or are you looking for basically a play starter and playmaker? Who's the best defender? Maybe you have to shore up your backcourt defensively. I think Darius Acuff is the best point guard. But I think if you want a guy that has more size, it might be Keaton Wagler. If you want a guy that's a little stronger, it might be Kingston Fleming, who we just were absolutely blown away with on his interview. If you want the best defender, it might be Brandon Burries. Brandon Burries. So, I mean, like, I think it really depends on what you're looking for in your need in that position on your roster.
Well, when I look at it and we get a chance to see Darius Acuff, this becomes situational. Because if you're drafting a Darius Acuff, you need to be in a position where you hand him the basketball.
Yes.
And most of the NBA today does not play with one dominant ball handler. And I'm not sure that Darius Acuff, because we haven't seen him play off the ball, I'm not sure how well he'll be able to adapt to that type of role. We have seen Kingston Flemings play off the ball when necessary, so therefore we know that he can do it. Both of these guys, in my opinion, are the top two point guards that I would draft in this draft, but it would depend upon my situation as to which of the two I would take.
But to piggyback off your point, when you talk about the position of point guard, just pure point guard, like old school point guard, facilitator, make everybody around you better, it's Darius Acuff. I mean, we talk about combination guards, like you talked about, Seth, right? You got Keaton Wagler, you got the Kingston Flemings, because they can play off ball. But guys who can actually make everybody else around them better, guys who can score the basketball, it's no other than Darius Acuff.
But again, when you say score the basketball, is that the role of if you were going to talk point guard, is that the first role of that point guard?
But I think he showed that he can do both, because when you talked about
it's great at the end of games.
To lead the SEC in points and assists, I think to me shows me that you can do whatever's necessary for your team to win. And when he's playing on a team like Arkansas, he was needed to be able to facilitate, because they had a lot of guys outside of Malik Thomas that were very limited and that needed other guys to be able to create for them.
So I always bring this into the scenario, and I have these conversations to practice when I get on set with you guys with a bunch of NBA scouts. Okay, so here's my concern, and I love both these point guards. How many NBA teams have a 6'2" guard that is their primary playmaker? Now, I'm going to take one away. Outside of Jalen Brunson, name me a small guard who is their primary playmaker who dominates the basketball.
Trae Young.
Okay. You mentioned Trae Young, right? 20-10 his entire career. Atlanta had to move him.
Yeah.
So that they felt like they could get better.
But was that more of a character issue or an on-court issue?
Trae Young is a great young man. I don't think that there's any issues with Trae Young. I do believe that it was time to move on, and it had more to do with his defense than it would be character. And so now when you look about that, that's the concern. Kingston Fleming's, we talked about his defense at Houston. We also, Darius Acuff has admitted he needs to be better on that end because of his offensive load. He didn't do a lot of defending at Arkansas. And so now, when you got a
they couldn't afford for him to get in foul trouble.
They couldn't afford for him to get in foul trouble. So when you look at that, let's go back and look at what has happened with Jalen Brunson in the playoffs.
He's playing on and off the ball.
Yeah. But he's the guy that they target on the other end of the floor. And so when you're going to have a point guard on the floor, and we're talking the good teams, right? They have to be able to get it done on both ends of the floor so that they can stay on the floor late games, or you have to be so dynamic offensively that they have to keep you out there regardless as to what you're doing on the defensive end.
You know, like, I agree with everything both of you said. And that's why, and we joke about the ball guard or the combo guard or whatever. The NBA is a league of combo guards. The NBA is a league of having guys that can make plays and score the basketball. Non-scorers on the court don't get guarded.
Right.
All right. Unless they're front court elite defenders, they've got to at least be able to make a corner three. So, to me, we're talking about Acuff and his playmaking. We're talking about Kingston, maybe a little bit better two-way player, maybe a little more athletic. Then we forget about a guy like Keaton Wagler, who's got size, shot-making ability. He has a feel to initiate and make plays. Like, he's the ultimate ball guard to me. Because of legitimate size, some people say Halliburton. I think he's got a little Steph in his game. I'm not saying Steph Curry. I'm talking about his release point, his logo range, his middle game, his feel. He can look over the defense. So all these guys, it comes down to, you used the word fit. It all comes down to what you need, what player fits in the rest of the guys around him. And then as a coach, are you willing to give up a little bit of the ball having energy and saying, all right, the ball's going to be this guy's hands.
And I can tell you right now that answer is an emphatic no.
Yeah, the way the game's played now.
If you take the basketball out of Steph Curry's hands, then everyone can have the ball taken out of their hands.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
You don't think that Darius, with another ball guard, can play on and off the ball, create space? He's a 40% three-point shooter.
I would never say that I don't think that he can. What I'm saying is we haven't seen it. And the reality behind that, he was ball dominant at Arkansas, and rightfully so. That's the way that they needed to play for him to win. But we've seen it with Kingston Fleming's. We've seen it with Keaton Wagler. Keaton Wagler's greatest gift is his shooting. Yes. Because at the NBA level, I'm not sure that Keaton Wagler can go past people. I don't know that he beats people off the dribble. But with his size and his shooting, you can play him off the ball. For example, Memphis. Ja Morant, if he plays beside a Ja Morant, now he's not the number one defender's not guarding a Keaton Wagler.
Or the Clippers.
Or the Clippers.
Darius Garland.
Playing alongside a Darius Garland. I believe Keaton Wagler's best position at the NBA level is not to have the ball in his hands as much, but to be more so off the ball. Darius Acuff, from what we've seen to this point, and this is no knock on him, I believe he has to have the basketball in his hands to be successful.
You just answered your own question, because you talk about Keaton Wagler doesn't have to put the ball in his hands. There are very few teams that are one ball guard dominant or one guard dominant. Most teams have combo guards, ball guards, and play with skilled perimeter players. But at the end of the game, who's going to have the ball in their hands? And that's where
there are a number of teams, there are a number of teams that have one guard that dominates the ball. The difference is those guards are 6'6". Shea's 6'6". Luka's 6'7". I mean, there are a number of teams that have. Paolo's 6'10", 250 pounds. He's got the ball all the time. Donovan Mitchell is a smaller guard, but he plays off the ball. James Harden has the ball.
But he also played with Darius Garland, who's another small guard, too.
And Darius Garland had the ball. Donovan was off the ball.
Well, Donovan is a ball guard.
King, are we dissecting these point guards because they deserve it, or because we're comparing them against so many other great guards in this class?
Well, I think that they're good enough to where, I mean, these are the cream of the crop, right? When you look at these guys, they are good enough to be dissected. And the one dissection that I think that we typically go after a little too much is Darius Acuff's defense. And I really don't think he's that bad of a defender, y'all. Like, call me crazy, but I think when against high major opponents, when you average 37 minutes per game, you're having to do everything for your offensive team. I mean, how much do you want him to really guard, right? I think at the next level, when he's not asked to do so much and he's able to play, I think he won't have the ball in his hands as much. I think he has the physical tools in the body to be able to guard.
He's just got to be adequate. He's never going to be a great. He's not built to be a lockdown defender.
But I think he's going to be
he's got to be a guy that
solid defender.
You don't have to run at the end of a shot clock a second guy to get the ball in his hands, to get the ball spit out.
Defense in the NBA today is not the same defense that it was 15 years ago. It's not as much of guarding a guy one-on-one as it is making multiple efforts time and time again on every possession. In the college game, I honestly believe that opponents make you pay for your mistakes on 25% of the possessions, 1 out of every 4. At the NBA level, it's 90%. You do not leave guys open in the corner because you don't rotate. You don't tag on that roller going to the rim. They make that skip pass to the opposite corner. That corner 3 is the easiest shot in the NBA. That's what everybody wants. And if you are not on a string with the other 4 guys on the floor, defensively communicating, that's where you get
So do you think he's incapable of that?
But I do not think he's incapable of that.
Right. So I think that plays to my point even more, though, because when you talk about the efforts, I think that he wasn't able to give maximum level effort because of his exertion on the offensive side and what he was asked to do. So, like, if we're talking about one-on-one guarding, I think that's where it might be a little bit more dangerous, right? Seeking them out on a mismatch when you're getting Paolo on him at the end of a shot clock.
It's a mindset, though. Yes. He's got to change his mindset.
Wait. Hold on. Okay. I'm glad you just said that. He's got to change his mindset.
Yeah. Because
you just tapped in. You agree. Well, that's it. You got to change. Does that happen?
I was going to say, is that easy to do?
No, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy to do. But what I'm saying is mindset is that he had to play 35 minutes. Not just
NBA games are 48 minutes. Averages are 36.
He had to play. He could not get in foul trouble.
Okay.
All right. They could not win the games they needed to win to be the team they needed to be if he was in foul trouble.
The New York Knicks can't win games if Jalen Brunson gets in foul trouble.
I understand that, but you know what? They'll find a way to get him for a couple of minutes because they got a guy like Deuce McBride behind him. They got a guy like Landry Shamet behind him. I mean, these good teams are going to have some depth. The question is, he's incredibly talented.
Agreed.
Kingston Fleming's incredibly talented.
Agreed.
Burries is incredibly talented. They both have all of those guys. You just hope that the decision makers make a decision on how they fit with the other players around them.
And I believe that's what, as talented as Darius Acuff is, and again, I love him as a talent, especially from the offensive standpoint. I do believe that his draft pool is a little more limited because of his style of play. That's
why Brooklyn would be a perfect spot for him.
Okay, so are you going to take the basketball out of Yegor Demon's hands to give it to Darius Acuff?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I just asked the Brooklyn scouting staff, their general manager, Sean Marks, who was your best rookie this year? Which name do you think they mentioned?
He probably said Yegor Demon.
There you go. You're not taking the basketball out of a 6'8" guy's hands, and now because when you got to switch defensively, you got a 6'8" guy standing up to another 6'8" guy in comparison to a 6'2" guy standing up to him.
But because he's 6'8", could he not play off ball with Darius? Could they not match up and be in a tandem?
Could they? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would they?
And we have yet to mention I know we're going to a break, Michael Brown.
Yes.
Because Michael Brown, we were talking about all these guys. Size, shot making, floor game, vision, potentially he's got to get stronger to be a good defender because he melts on screens a little bit right now, but he's got good wide shoulders. Like, Michael Brown has got to be in that conversation because of his size and his versatility to fit in with all those guys. Not athletically as athletic as Burries and Kingston right now, but bigger. And that's why this class is so deep and such a decision for these guys.
The ability to score the basketball as well. As LaFonso Wells would say, enough about the guards. Let's talk about the big guys. After that spirited debate about guards, and we will talk about the bigs here in Chicago right after this.
bigger protection.
U.S. Bank Business Banking gives you dedicated experts and tailored solutions that work together to reward you more. Because we believe the most rewarding wins take a team effort.
One of those.
You'll get there someday.
Your business and U.S. Bank together. That's the power of us.
If it hurts you to watch this, you'll want to hear this. The eczema medication you're taking may not be right for you. Visit myrawtruth.com and talk to your dermatologist about your symptoms and treatment options.
Are you throwing away money on your car insurance?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Try Insurify. We help you compare quotes and save half on your car insurance.
I like it when things are convenient and save me lots of money.
Go to Insurify.com and save up to $1,000 a year on your car insurance.
The first day back from maternity leave is so weird. We get it. Find a caregiver who does too. When it's not you, it's care.com.
There's an easier way with Thumbtack. Download the app today and care for your home from top to bottom.
Room for 6 full-size passions. A car that doesn't elevate everyone's experience is a car that stops short of amazing.
We come together, get the fireworks started. Yeah, we the life of the party, it's true.
Different vibes, same ingredients. We all know it's not a cookout without Heinz and Kraft singles.
Golf's second major tees it up right here on ESPN and the ESPN app. The first round of the PGA Championship gets underway tomorrow, noon Eastern. Scotty Scheffler, the defending champion. Jordan Spieth eyeing the career Grand Slam opening round play of the PGA Championship tomorrow. This talented big man class may be highlighted by Cameron Boozer and Caleb Wilson. The two took part in agility drills, the pro lane yesterday. And despite maybe some of the narrative with Cam Boozer not being quite as agile, look at that. Better time in the lane agility than Caleb Wilson. Better time in the shuttle run, just a tenth of a second behind in the three-quarter court sprint. Caleb shot it very well.
And look at the standing vert. That is a difference.
That is a big difference here. We're back in Chicago. Coach Seth Greenberg, Corey Alexander, NBA front office insider Bobby Marks, and our Jeremy Woo, the draft expert here. I guess there are some who would say, Jeremy, the draft really begins after 1 and 2, depending on what order you have the presumptive top picks. So where do you go at 3?
For me, it's Cam Boozer. I think just the production he brings, to me, being what's ahead of Caleb Wilson, but there is very much a discussion. There's been a discussion all year. Now, Cam Boozer came into the year, I think, firmly ahead. They've always been peers. I think people have valued Boozer's production. But what happens is you get to this point of the process, now NBA teams are looking at it and they're projecting. You see how Wilson impacts the game vertically. I think it surprised people this year with his motor. This was a new thing. He showed, I'm ready. He really came in and, I think changed the perception of how he played with his energy, his ability to impact the game. So now you've got a discussion. People are like, well, maybe we project out. Wilson really impacts the game on the vertical plane. Boozer kind of impacts it horizontally, right? So it's kind of like, how do you want your team to look, and what do you value?
Well, in Memphis, you have Zach Edey, of course, who you took a season ago in the lottery. So now, if you look at pairing Cameron Boozer, who, for as great as he is as a basketball player, we would all have to agree he is an under-the-rim player. We would agree with that. And now Zach Edey, who athletically struggles with switching pick-and-roll actions, guarding pick-and-roll areas. Do you feel like Memphis would go that route knowing that lack of athleticism, and although you have the size, somewhat of a lack of athleticism defensively, having those two guys in your front line? Or do you go after the athlete like a Caleb Wilson, who could be dynamic on both ends of the floor?
Yeah, I think you're asking the right question. If we're assuming both those guys are there, it's really, again, a question of how you want your team to look, right? I think there's a lot of potential with Boozer and Edey if you want to be a half-court team. Remember, Boozer is a really adept perimeter player. His playmaking, he's become a very good shooter. He's made strides in those areas where Now, you can play him in two-man actions. He can space the floor. He's comfortable out on the perimeter. So I don't think it's like a terrible fit with the two of them, but what you give up is the ability to play in transition a little bit. You give up the foot speed, right? But with Wilson, his ability to vertically impact the game, catch lobs, run the floor, maybe a more natural fit with Edey, who is a sort of a slower-footed interior guy.
Bobby, we cut away to a shot of Carlos Boozer in the crowd here. Obviously, Cam's dad wearing Utah Jazz gear. Utah with the number 2 pick overall. If there's a discussion with Danny Ainge about, you know what, Cam is a guy that's the right player for this organization right now, what sort of flexibility do you have if you don't want to take him at 2, potentially to move down with the team at 3 or 4?
Well, you've got a bunch of draft picks here. You still have some future picks from Minnesota and Cleveland here that you didn't have to surrender in the to acquire Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. I think for Utah, you're looking at a front court right now of Larry Markkinen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Walker Kessler, who is a restricted free agent. Now, if you add one of those two players, whether it be Boozer or Wilson, how does that fit the dynamic there as far as, with those 3 players in place already? So that's a hard question to ask right now. I think we're going to learn a lot in the next 5 weeks as far as where teams are going to be. Is there the opportunity of a team to move up here? I think how the top 4 right now is, it's hard for me to see a team jumping in there to basically surrender one of these potential players that they can have. And I'm going to put Jeremy on the spot right now. If Caleb Wilson and Cameron Boozer were in next year's draft, would they be the number 1 pick?
Yes, I think right now, I pretty confidently think if either one of them had decided to go back, they would both be the front runner next year, which, again, points to why this year's draft is so important for these teams.
We're talking about fit all day long. We talked about fit with the guards. We talked about fit in the front court. We talked about needs. They're 2 totally different players. Caleb Wilson and Cam are 2 totally different players. It really comes down to fit and need. Like, really, the ideal thing is the Jazz need what? They need a shot maker. All right? Plain and simple. So, I mean, that says Darren Peterson. The Grizzlies, they got to decide how they want to play. All right? They want, like you said, you want to play fast, they want to play slow. I don't think you can miss either way. Personally, I think that at 4, Cam Boozer's a perfect fit. I think that Caleb Wilson's upside, as good as I think, Cam's going to be a 18, 19, and 10 for 10 years. I really believe that. I think his maturity, his everyday game, everyday mentality is there. To me, Caleb's upside is freakish in terms of not just 20 and 10, but he could be one of those guys that could help you, lead you to an NBA championship. What do you think about that, Carl?
I agree wholeheartedly, but, you just watched the game last night. Victor Wembanyama's blocking everything around the rim as Rudy Gobert is trying to finish. And you're talking about the Western Conference. Cameron Boozer, when he catches the basketball off a short roll in the painted area, he's playing under the rim. Caleb Wilson is playing above the rim. The standing vert, there's a difference in 10 inches between the two. Caleb clearly didn't try on his max vert because it's only an inch more so than his standing vert. Right? And that's basically, oh, you know what, I already passed this test. I'm not even going to do the second part. But when you talk about the athleticism for a guy that not only on the offensive end, but defensively, being able to switch out. And I think that Cameron Boozer is going to be a very good defender at the NBA level.
Position defender.
But I think that Caleb Wilson has a chance to be an elite defender. Again, I'm not, but people are comparing him to Kevin Garnett, right? And so with the motor, with all that goes into it, even to be able to draw that type of comparison, you're not talking one-sided because as great as KG was offensively, he was a better defender. He was an MVP. But this is one of the best defenders. He and Kobe Bryant tied 12 first-team All-NBAs, the most ever in the history of the game. When you're taking on that type of comparison, they're looking at what you do on the other side of the basketball and his level of competitive nature with actually both of them. In my opinion, to your point, Caleb Wilson could be a superstar. And I don't know that teams will say, we're going to walk away from what could be a generational talent to take a guy who we feel is going to be that everyday guy. But you look at the type of action that you see from Caleb Wilson, and I'm biased. Really with both of them. I called their games all year in the ACC. I've seen them at their best. I've known them since they were 14 years old. Both of these guys are winners. They're both elite competitors. I just think one has a chance to be a superstar and one is going to be an all-star.
Well, and I think that shows you with how much Sunday was important for Chicago. There's a difference between picking at 9 and picking at 4 in this year's draft. And getting somebody at 9 would have been really good. But now you're either looking at DeBonsa, Peterson, Boozer, Wilson at number 4 for you. That is certainly a good problem to have. I think for Chicago, for me, is interesting. Who's coaching, right? Like you still have to hire a head coach. You've got to need a lot. You have a lot of front court depth need. You only have Matas Brazile in there. You don't have a center. Whenever you're picking in the lottery, there's always needs there. And I think whoever's left standing at 4, Chicago's going to get a really good player here.
Yeah, they certainly have been left in a strong position because you kind of can just, you can just sit and you know what the group is and you feel good about all of them, and what you do from there might change a little bit, but you know who's going to be there. One of them will, and they're all stellar players.
Let me ask you, Bobby. You don't know who your head coach is going to be. All right, and you're gonna have this draft in place. Probably, well, they'll probably have a coach by then. But that coach's vision for the team and how he's trying to implement that system that he wants to play. Obviously, you want to fit your system to your personnel, but he's also got a master plan of this is who we are, this is how we're going to win, this is going to be our offensive identity. 2 very different identities if you have Wilson or Boozer. Like you talk about space, with Edey. I think he played with Edey because he can short roll, and he's such a good passer out of the short roll. All right, he does a terrific job. Plus, he can set those flare screens, step out, and shoot it, and he can still drive a closeout. But the other guy's a genetic freak. It's just in my opinion.
I'd be a lot nervous if I was picking at 3 and didn't have a head coach.
Yeah,
really, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you're really balancing that question.
There's much more of a decision to be made at 3 than there is at 4. Just one pick away.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, the analytics, the models too are also really going to love Boozer. His production, it's so bankable. Like I think he's one of the safest picks in a while. So that'll factor in for Memphis as well. That's something they care about.
All right, 3 quarters down here inside Wintrust Arena, and so many of the players we've been talking about being observed by, in some cases, their head coach, Texas head man Sean Miller. What a job he did there this past season. And Austin, you got the money man, Steve Ballmer, the governor of the Los Angeles Clippers.
Nobody loves basketball more than Ballmer.
And by the way, a pretty fortuitous day when they earned the top 5 pick of the draft, Rob Pelinka.
It's one of my hosts on my visit to the University of Michigan, Rob Pelinka, by the way.
He did a very good job.
He wanted number 3, I wanted number 3, so I couldn't go there.
And then the man who's playing chess while everybody else is throwing up on themselves, Sam Presti, the best general manager in the NBA, on the phone, having conversations here at the NBA Draft Combine.
Hey you! Relax! Domino's large one-topping pizzas are just $7.99 when you carry out. But don't act now! This deal's here through this time next year, at least. So take the scenic route on down to...
my nose.
Let's be honest. Painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much did we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Behr Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Well, I'll have another. Make it a double.
Dad, Mom thinks she's at a resort again.
Yeah, she told me.
When you'd rather not resort to a virtual resort,
This is much better in real life.
it matters where you stay.
Looking good, babe.
Book your summer stay now. Hilton for the stay.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond by manufacturing prosthetic leg belts that allow for greater flexibility of movement. Michelin, motion for life.
Instacart helps me get home so fine. Thick or thin, no need to read my mind. Honey glazed in a Dijon cream. Just when I make my sandwich sing.
We're all navigating something, but you don't need another take. Sometimes all you need is a different view. Stop overthinking and start moving. Travel won't fix everything, but it gives you perspective. See it differently. Get away.
Chipotle Honey Chicken is back. Step into summer with fresh grilled chicken, spicy Chipotle peppers, and the perfect touch of pure honey. Open the summer with Chipotle Honey Chicken. It's taking heat and sweet to a whole new level.
We're back at the NBA Draft Combine. Big news from the NBA. Senior NBA insider Shams Charania saying the NBA has concluded its investigation into the Bucks over the shutdown of Giannis, determined that there's no future disciplinary action warranted. Shams is also reporting the team is open to trading the two-time MVP at some point over the next 6 weeks, where there figures to be no shortage of teams that would be interested. Shams, what else do you want to add?
So this week, the Bucks are laying the groundwork for what we're going to see over the next 6 weeks, which is increased trade conversations. The Bucks are having meetings with teams internally, trying to figure it out. Team sources tell me that they are now listening and fully open for business on trade calls, offers that are coming in for Giannis. And this has been a 12-month-long saga that started last May when Giannis showed an interest in seeing his best possible fits outside of Milwaukee. It escalated as the summer went on. In August, made it clear he wanted to play for the Knicks. The sides had conversations. No deal ended up obviously happening. And this really stems from Bucks co-owner Jimmy Haslam coming out last week saying that either this will end in a long-term extension for Giannis in June or a trade elsewhere. And that all centers around what Giannis wants, what he feels. And my understanding is Giannis has made it clear over a period of months that he feels it's time for both sides to move on. It's time to part ways. One source told me in the last 24 hours, nothing has changed about that stance. And so then the conversation turns toward where does he want to play long term? Because he's got 1 year left on his deal, guaranteed, and that does give him a level of sway and control over his future, because any team that's going to trade their young players, blue chip talent, as well as draft picks, assets moving into the future, they want to know, will he stay and sign long term moving forward?
Bobby, who has the flexibility to do that and give up the assets that Milwaukee's going to want in return?
Well, I think Shams just hit it right on the head. What does Giannis want here? I think certainly if there's a list of teams that he wants to play for, that kind of shrinks the list of whatever a team can offer, because a player that's going into last year of your contract and who's extension eligible, you want to know if that player is going to be here long term before you could give up every 4 first-round picks and players. I think you certainly Miami is a team that will be talked about a lot. It was talked about at the trade deadline. They do have the 13th pick in the draft. They have 2 future firsts to move here. They've got some young players in Khalil Ware and Tyler Hero here. New York, of course, is playing. Minnesota is playing here. I always say that how your season ends basically forces you sometimes to make a move that you wouldn't have done in February. We saw last year with Kevin Durant getting traded from Phoenix for Houston, but this is certainly a situation that will play out, and it's an ideal time to do it based on where we are with the draft coming up.
Is this an ideally sign and trade so that those teams that are getting Giannis know they're going to have him long term, or is it a promise?
Well, Bobby knows the intricacies of that, but a lot of it will be an understanding, right? Because even though Jimmy Haslam and the Bucks want a commitment from Giannis in June, he's not going to be able to sign it. Even if he gives the commitment to them, he wouldn't be able to sign it until October. My understanding is there would not be a commitment in June for the Bucks anyway. Now, wherever he's traded to, there would be an understanding of sorts that he would be comfortable moving forward, and then 6 months post-trade. So if he's traded in June, July takes 6 months after that. I'm not good at math. That was not my major. I always failed. That's why we got Bobby Marks, the best of business. That would be what, December, January-ish?
Yes.
Where he would then execute that trade.
10 plus 4 plus 2.
You lost me.
Shams, there was a lot of conversation around the play-in, both Golden State and Miami in the play-in. And there was a lot of conversation about these two teams from a business standpoint, even though it's not in their DNA, they don't want to make the playoffs because they need a lottery pick to put in a deal to try to get Giannis. They end up with, I believe, 11-12 or 11-13, not those top 5 picks that everyone is so upset about. Does that still mean that Golden State nor Miami, which I believe are 2 of the teams that are heavily interested in bringing in Giannis, does that mean that now they really won't have an opportunity to get in there because they don't have that high draft pick?
Not necessarily. Both teams made offers, were involved at the trade deadline. Milwaukee listened to both teams. I think both organizations wanted to make the playoffs, though, and so they could have very easily dropped out of the lottery. So it just so happened now Golden State's at 11, Miami's at 13. If anything, I do think, yeah, it does bolster, and it makes it clear exactly what their pick is. And so, you know, there has been a sense around teams that Milwaukee would want, and that's Jimmy Haslam. Why do you want to trade before the NBA draft? So you know where you're picking, and ideally you have multiple picks. Now, Milwaukee already has 10. You could have multiple picks going into the lottery this draft.
Amazing that a future Hall of Famer and still in his prime superstar is available to be had. Milwaukee open to offers for Giannis. We're coming back to Chicago after this.
The hard-working men and women of the PGA of America know the power of taking action. On the course, they give their all, guiding, teaching, lifting others up. There for the small breakthroughs that add up to a lifelong love for the game. Off the course, they have a trusted partner in Corbridge Financial, helping them plan for retirement with confidence. Corbridge is proud to support the financial futures of PGA of America members. Let us help you take action for your future, too.
You installed this?
Even had a few screws left over.
If it's important, it's not worth compromising. That's why with Farmers, you can get quality and savings.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Gravity Defier for life. IMS for life.
You came to me. That was your first good idea. Mastering Toon Blast requires supreme dedication.
Supreme? I played on the bus.
Oh, I will be the mentor I wish I'd had. First up, pattern recognition. On it. We must hone your speed. Go! Too slow. And you'll need a victory laugh. Whoa. The next move is tap, tap, rocket.
Got it! Dude,
what?
Let's go, dude!
A momentous UFL doubleheader Saturday.
Playoff push is officially on. Everybody has a chance to win.
So a lot to be decided. First, DC and Louisville clash in Derby City.
Momentum continues in DC's favor, but it's all about who's going to be the best team that day.
Then Houston and St. Louis battle in the Dome.
The fans here are all about it.
Bring them out, bring them out.
It's going to get rowdy.
The United Football League. Saturday beginning at noon on ABC.
Get into the ball and guard the ball, fellas. We got to guard the ball, stay in front, all right? I think that's what they do, right? That's the point of basketball, to stop them from getting to the rim.
Good job, guys. Way to set the tone. Good defense, good defense, good defense.
Right now, you can obviously see the defense is going to win. There we go.
Together on three. 1, 2, 3.
Together, come on.
Some of the sounds from the first scrimmage of the day here. Team Carpenter, a 4-point lead on Team Adams. Sean Farnham and King McClure back with us here. One of the stars of this scrimmage has been Matthew Abel, freshman out of NC State, who 13 points, Sean, has the commitment to go to North Carolina should he decide to go to college, but he's starring in this game here today, and there's some buzz in the NBA.
He's playing very well, and while I was offset, I was talking to numerous scouts that are taking note of a couple of things that have stood out. One is he shot the ball very well in this game, very efficient with it. Two is the thing that they talk about a lot is he's one of the younger prospects in this draft, and they feel that there's upside to him in being a consistent role player, and again, that's not a slight, but a role player that can start and impact winning. And will he slide into the first round? And if he does slide into the first round and a team wants to say, hey, we're going to take him and makes a promise, is it enough to take him away from North Carolina? We've been long talking about the money at North Carolina in the college game because of NIL. But he has looked very comfortable with the ball in his hands. He's made a lot of really positive plays throughout the course of this game. And multiple teams that I talked to were taking note to him standing out more than maybe any other prospect that's out on the court right now.
I mean, we saw flashes of that this past season at NC State.
I mean, he's a great shooter, shot 36% from behind the arc. I mean, he has great positional size. When you're playing alongside of a guy like Copeland, right, and you have a guy like Paul McNeil out there, I mean, when you come off the bench, you have to take account for what he brought to the table, right? Defensively, he got better with Will Wade over the course of the season, but he is a guy in which I'm not surprised that scouts are taking note of, and he can make some noise, and I'm not surprised that he's making noise today.
Well, first off, shout out to my guy, Johnny Carpenter. I mean, the coach coaching up the squad, University of Virginia, national champion, also an alum. So give my man JC some credit for the job he's doing right now. But Matthew Abel, King, to your point, whenever you can find a guy that in college can come off the bench and be successful, you found something. Because very few of these guys, I mean, and again, especially the guys who are playing in the games today, are going to be drafted to be starters, right? Now, we have seen it. J-Dub, Jalen Williams did that in 2022. But for the most part, and I don't even know if he was projected to be a starter when he was drafted by OKC. He was just that good. He found himself in the starting lineup. But most guys are going to be drafted or signed to be role players. And that's the thing. Matt Abel's already shown that he can play that role coming off the bench every game this season for Will Wade. And you mentioned averaging over 8 points per game, but he has some big ones, specifically against North Carolina, which is the reason why I'm sure they came in with the heavy bag to make sure they get him if he doesn't stay in the draft.
He's a role player with a huge upside, though, because how young he is. He's going to get stronger. He's more physical. He is an elite three-point shooter. I got a chance to see him last summer before actually the season started, in his first, probably second week on campus. And he was an absolutely poised, great work ethic, great focus, an elite shooter, good footwork, very coachable, comes from a very athletic family, understands the work ethic and the attitude, great attitude. The biggest question, all these guys, someone could get a steal. Someone could take him at the end of the first round, and potentially 3 years from now, we'll have a totally different player. He could come in as a role player, a second unit guy, and end up an NBA starter. Or he can wait and then have a monster year. There's no guarantees. And then come back next year and potentially be a lottery pick.
But here's the thing. If he does wait and go back to school, he's playing for an NBA champion head coach. And again, so now those same conversations that teams have with your coach are different. Michael Malone's input is going to be different than the average college coach, simply because he's coached Jamal Murray. He's coached the Joker. He's coached Bruce Brown. He's coached so many different NBA. He knows what it takes to be an NBA player.
But let me ask you this, Corey. When you're dealing with a guy like Abel, who came off the bench and he thrived in his role, and one of the reasons why you love him is because of the upside. If he comes back to North Carolina, now he moves from number 7 on the scouting report to number 2. Do you think that that could possibly hurt him?
Not if he's the player.
Yeah, not if he's the guy that everybody. If we're creating the buzz here,
that's what I'm saying.
Like, you have to be able to handle that as you move up in the scouting report.
But does he have
the
the
best players do.
capability to be that guy?
If you're going to be in Club 5,000, you better be able to handle that.
And King, I think you make a very valid point. Because again, it's different being number 6, number 7 on the scouting report in comparison to being number 1. And that's one of the things, you know, we watched Matthew Abel have great games at NC State. We also watched him struggle. And we aren't sure how well does he put the basketball on the floor. Does he handle it against pressure? Because when you become that number 1 option, they start picking you up 94. You got to play against that pressure. And again, I think that raised a very good question. Oftentimes we see guys that become overexposed in college. And is that something that you see from Matt Abel?
This guy has upside. This is such a small data point in terms of his body of work. It's great. You know what happens here? A guy plays well out here. You know what happens? Now it becomes the deep dive. Right? Now it becomes like we say, oh, yeah, he's moving. No, he's not moving up. He's moving up to the point where he's going to get evaluated and put under a microscope to say, you know what? All right, this is where he is. What's his upside? What's his attitude? Can he get stronger? And all the intangibles. Now, he's got all the intangibles.
I would argue that NBA organizations have already done that. I did a lot of NC State games this year, and there were a lot of pro scouts there. And the first person that they talked about with NC State is Matt Abel. They weren't talking about any of the seniors who were the stars on the team.
But this is step one here at the Combine. I guess Coach was talking about step one, right? Step two now becomes, okay, going to your pro day, bringing you into the facility, evaluating you up close, getting their hands and their eyes on you, and being able to work you out and see what kind of player you are. And he's going to have to make a decision pretty quickly here based on the collegiate decision of going to Carolina or staying in.
I agree with you. I just don't know if I could call it step one, because step one guys don't get invited to the Combine. There are a bunch of guys that want to be here that don't get this invitation.
Yeah, Carr, explain to the people, like, so he's going to go and he's going to work out for NBA teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will his agent say, all right, he's going to work out for us, but he's going by himself? Because most times, a lot of times, they're going to bring Matt Abel in, and they're going to bring two physical defenders in to kind of challenge him to see what he's made of.
You know the part about that? His agent doesn't have that type of leverage with Matt Abel.
That's what I was about to say.
Peterson's agent has that type of leverage.
Yeah, I know, and so like
Darius Acuff's agent has that type of leverage. Matt Abel's agent does not have that type of leverage.
They're going to bring some guys in that are going to get up and under and be physical with him and see how he responds to that. You're right. There's a dossier on him right now. Look, the guys we're talking about, they're out here. There's dossiers on these guys since they've been juniors, sophomores in high school.
For sure.
And they're just adding to basically their history and their research. But if he goes and works out, he's not going to be by himself.
No. It'll probably be another prospect that they're looking at on the same. No, that could be in the same class. You could have him working out with a Darren Peterson.
Sean, the beauty of this right now, what we're watching here, I think is what a lot of people are in the stands for, is we've got a 5-point game, 3-point game a minute ago with 3 minutes to go. What do scouts want to see in this scenario?
I think the poise that you play with and how do you execute in these moments. And you see a turnover, now you got an opportunity to run out. But these stands are packed right now with front office and general manager guys. And we talk about maybe how like the top of the draft guys aren't out on the court, but they're evaluating everything they're doing. They're watching Matt Abel, by the way, when he's on the bench.
Yes.
How is he reacting to being on the bench in these moments, watching other people play? What is it? Is he cheering them? Is he a positive fountain of energy out to the court, or is he sitting there thinking about himself and being in his own feelings?
The other guy we need to talk about is Blackwell. I mean, here's a guy, he's got Duke on one hand, potential first-round draft choice, right towards the bottom of the first round. Two similar scorers. One's older, one's younger, probably who has a higher ceiling.
Well, that's your answer to who Matt Abel will be working out with.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. Yeah.
By the way, then his agent will have complete control because his agent represents both of them.
Well, there you go. And that means both of them are going to work out together and be playing together, and their agent can now say, hey, listen, maybe you should go back to school. And let's not forget, oftentimes there are deals made.
Yeah.
And the agents, actually, some of the agents make more money if the kid goes back to school.
Yes.
Because they're taking a higher percentage.
They take a higher percentage.
And oftentimes it could be more money.
Yeah, I mean, that too.
Another guy that we haven't talked about, Baba Miller.
Oh, my goodness.
Has had himself a game, and he has shown his versatility in his skill set. People forget he was smaller and grew to the size that he is, but smooth with the ball in his hands. He has shown the ability to attack from the perimeter and get all the way to the rim. His length has been disruptive at the defensive end of the floor as well.
And you know, the biggest thing with Baba Miller is the one thing that we always criticize this young man for is that he can't shoot. Well, he's shooting 2 for 5 from the three-point line, 40%. I mean, this year at Florida Atlantic, he shot it pretty decently. Last year, it was atrocious. But if he can sit there and knock down the 3-ball, be a stretch 4, his versatility is going to be endless.
Emmanuel Sharp can shoot it. He just knocked down that 3 to extend the lead to 9, and we're coming right back to Chicago.
I'll give you my bike if you can prove you know your finances.
Sure.
How many subscriptions are you paying for right now?
I don't know, like 4.
Let's download Rocket Money and we'll see if you're right. Okay, it actually looks like you're paying for 15, which is costing you $290 a month.
What? No way. Where are you getting this information?
Rocket Money has all your expenses in one place, and it even helps you create a budget based on your past spending. Don't worry about those subscriptions. You can cancel the ones you don't want right from the app, and it'll even try to get you a refund on some of them.
That's actually pretty helpful.
Download Rocket Money today.
Over time, moss, mold, and mildew stains cover your home, and cleaning them is too much work.
You need Wet and Forget, the easy bleach-free way to clean tough outdoor stains. For decks, patios, and cushions, use Wet and Forget outdoor spaces. No scrubbing, no rinsing. Just apply and let it do the work for you over time. Got a bigger job? Reach second-story siding and roofs with Outdoor Max. Up to a 30-foot reach and 2 times the coverage. Get Wet and Forget at these leading retailers.
You came to me. That was your first good idea. Mastering Toon Blast requires supreme dedication.
Supreme? I played on the bus.
Oh, I will be the mentor I wish I'd had. First up, pattern recognition.
On it.
We must hone your speed. Go! Too slow. And you'll need a victory laugh.
Whoa.
The next move is tap, tap, rocket.
Got it. Dude,
what?
Let's go, dude.
Caleb, nice here.
Saturday, it's a UFL doubleheader. DC visits Louisville at noon Eastern. And then Houston takes on St. Louis at 3. You can catch both games on ABC. Stream the action anytime on the ESPN app. Back here in Chicago, and Baba Miller, a guy who went from Florida State to FAU to Cincinnati, and the way he's playing in this first half, Corey, he's headed to an NBA team.
KC, Baba Miller missed the first semester of his time at Florida State due to an NCAA suspension on eligibility issues. By the time he was able to get back on the floor, Florida State was already knee-deep in the ACC competition. It took him a while to get going. But this is a young man that was supposed to be a one-and-done coming from Europe. And so to see Baba Miller now, 4 years later, in this scenario, the talent is still there and is showing up significantly. You guys watched him a lot at Cincinnati, but everyone has known that he's supposed to be good, but he's showing how good he is here this afternoon.
Well, and I think part of the thing with him is, can you key into that aggressiveness? There is times when he's out on the floor where he just seems to be disengaged and a little bit passive. That has not been the case this afternoon. He's been very aggressive with the ball in his hands and trying to make plays, and it's in his hands right now with under a minute and 20 seconds left to go in this game.
And I think that's the versatility right there. You can play him at that one spot sometimes, that point forward spot. That's what Wes Miller did. That's when their offense was ran the best. But the problem was a lot of people didn't guard him because he couldn't shoot. So he kind of hindered your spacing a little bit. If Baba Miller could shoot the basketball, you guys, we'd be talking about him in the lottery, right? If he had a jumper, he's a lottery pick because he is that level of good. He can pass, he can defend as a help side defender, as a primary defender. I mean, this young man brings so much to the table, right? He has to get stronger, has to fill out his body, but he brings so much to the table that if he could shoot, he'd be a lottery pick.
I'm calling a 30 right here. Like everyone's not a lottery pick, and everyone's not great. He's an interesting prospect. This is a small sample size. He has a body of work. The guy has size. He's got a skill set. Can he shoot it better? Who does he defend? Is he physical enough? All these guys are not like, look, they're playing well in a pickup game in the combine. They have a skill set. They have a chance to be good players. He's projected to be in the draft is about where he is. Can he play his way onto a roster? Can he play a couple years in the G League? Yeah, but we've got to also be realistic in how we evaluate these guys in relation to the competition that they're playing in the environment. What did I say wrong?
I said if he could shoot. He's not a lottery pick because he can't shoot. Because his body of work shows that he can't.
Emmanuel Sharp can shoot.
But his body of work has shown that he can't. His body of work has shown that he can't. So that's why he's in the position in which he is in.
He's going to get drafted probably. So, like,
I don't see, and that's the thing. I don't know that he's a draft pick.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, it may be better not to be a draft pick because you can find the right scenario, whether it's Exhibit 10, whether it's a two-way contract, whatever it may be. But as soon as the last pick of the draft is made, phones start blowing up.
Yes.
This is where the GM's real
teams,
work
baby.
comes into play. Like, again, this is where you start to build guys. And I always go back to Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado was undrafted, but he was so good as a rookie, the New Orleans Pelicans had to put him on a standard contract so that he could play in the playoffs. The Phoenix Suns that year lost 2 games to the Pelicans, and a large part of that had to do with Jose Alvarado's impact on the game. There are many finds that you can make in this game that don't hear their name called.
Fred VanVleet. Duncan Robinson. I mean, there's a ton of them, but those guys had a specific skill set. We just can't lose our minds over how a guy plays in the combine because he has a history and a dossier on him that basically in this moment of time says who he is, not who he maybe can be.
Correct. Every year we do see somebody, though, that does play, that creates a little buzz and then is able to carry that buzz through the workout process and carry that buzz after they leave Chicago and find their own pathway. To the point of what everybody's talking about up here, there's not one direct line into the NBA. You can get drafted and be a lottery pick. You can be a second-round pick and all of a sudden, by the way, become an MVP of the NBA. You can also, by the way, to Coach's point, there are deals that are struck with players that know they're probably not going to get drafted. If you don't get drafted, this is the offer that we have. And that is already done prior to the start of the draft. And then once the draft is over, they're already signed. Like I was at Johnny Juzang's draft party. He knew he was going to Utah on a two-way unless he got drafted by somebody else. He didn't get drafted, immediately put on a Utah Jazz hat because he knew it was going to be done.
Austin Reeves.
Yeah. And again, the list goes down a long line. It's about development. It's about growth through this process.
And opportunity.
Davis Jenkins. I mean, there's so many different routes to be able to find your way. Oh, but again, that's the characteristic. Go be a dog, whether you get drafted or not. Because what we like to call it at the league level is taking the long road. It's making those G League trips. It's playing in the G. It's finding an organization that values what you do. It's not going to the G League and scoring 30. It's going to the G League and defending and finding a way to where your organization says, we may need to give this young man a chance and bring him up. And then once you get your opportunity, the league is full of guys who once they got an opportunity, they ran with it.
And they're all what? Guys that fit specific roles. Lockdown defender, knockdown shooter, play starter, elite rebounder. And everyone is looking for those. Look, you got to fill out your roster with basically lower contracted guys like Cam Spencer.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many guys like that, but it's a process. What role can you carve out? Like, let's say Bob Mel, what role would he carve out?
Well, number one, defensively, I think he can make an impact because another thing that you guys said to talk about, be a dog. I think that's part of his problem is that sometimes he's too passive. He's not as aggressive as you would want him to be. But I think, number one, it starts defensively. I mean, he can guard 1 through 5. We've seen him do that this year in Cincinnati. He's a great playmaker.
Great.
And he's great in the open court.
Well, and one thing is you talk about guys that can carve out a role. Jaden Bradley did exactly, Coach, as
exactly
Jaden Bradley does.
Yeah, Jaden Bradley, Big 12 Player of the Year, could be Nebhard in this draft. Or not draft.
Yeah.
But he's going to end up on the roster.
Baba Miller leading the way with 20 points to go with 6 rebounds as well. And Matt Abel, one of the players that we discussed thoroughly in this game, knocking down 3 of 5 from three-point range.
Look, I think these guys came out and they did what they were supposed to do. Yeah. They competed. They played hard. And they tried to play at both ends of the floor, which is what you want to see. And that's what they're going to be evaluated on to see how this continues to grow into that next step.
15 for Matt Abel today. He had 4 15-point games at NC State this season. He's got a decision to make, but first he's got a conversation with Vanessa Richardson.
Now he's starting to go.
Yes, sir.
Matt, strong showing for you. 15 points, and you played with a ton of confidence. What did you like the most about the way you played today?
Really, I think it was just a confidence, like you said, getting downhill, taking what's open. But my teammates, man, they was there for me the whole time. I mean, like, I feel like we brought the energy way more than the other team. I think we just came out with all the energy, and we outplayed them, outworked them.
This is the first time a lot of you guys played together. What'd you think of your team bonding and your chemistry today?
That's about the brotherhood, I guess. Come on, man. We all want to win. That's what it is. We all want to win, and, you know, I mean, the NBA wants winners. We want to win as much as possible.
We know you have a great frame and a great shooting touch. What can you bring to an NBA franchise?
I think, you know, versatility offensively and defensively. I mean, and a winner as well, making the right plays throughout the game. I feel like it's a big part of me and, you know, winning basketball.
This is a big week for all of you guys. What do you hope to show here at the NBA Combine?
honestly, I think everyone brings a different, skill set. And I think as a team, we play well together. We bring the energy and we win.
Great game, Matt.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Come on, boy.
Excited group here at the Combine, guys.
Yeah, and the Thunder vibe is real.
The Thunder vibe is absolutely real. And to Sean's point, when he talked about Matt Abel will have some decisions to make, guess what's decision number one? Will he play tomorrow? That decision is huge. That is huge.
America, this tournament might be fought on the pitch, but it'll be won in the backyard barbecues. Nice save. That guy looks like Tim Howard.
I am Tim Howard.
Jim Beam, official spirit of U.S. soccer.
My name is Diana Perazzo. I chose SNHU's online program specifically because of flexibility. They made it possible. I have been a professional wrestler for 12 years. A lot of times I was ringside writing papers and getting journals done. You're going to get the same time and respect as an in-person student. I didn't need to be anywhere to register. I didn't need to talk to anyone in person. Everything could be done through my laptop, and they made that process seamless. I made it to the finish line, and you can too. Get started at snhu.edu.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much did we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Behr Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond. With airless tires designed for exploring new frontiers. Michelin, motion for life.
From senior to childcare to pets and more, the new Care.com makes it easier than ever to find the care you need. And you don't have to hire just anyone. You can find a background-checked caregiver who's the right fit for you. Join now and find care at Care.com.
Now, at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50. So Miles, Jaden, and Carl have a plan. It's called McDouble Macro Monday. Get more value when you order from the under $3 menu.
The road to the NBA Finals is happening now on ESPN and ABC. It's make or break now. Best on best now.
Oh, what a gorgeous move.
Watch him say it with his chest now.
Puts it in.
Greatness is up for grabs. And the world is watching.
Just win.
On the home of the NBA Finals.
All the work, all the sacrifice.
The NBA playoffs, Cavaliers, Pistons. Tonight on ESPN.
Welcome back to the AWS NBA Draft Combine. According to our Jeremy Wu, picks 11 through 20. Some very recognizable names among this group. The Golden State Warriors will pick at 11. They know their head coach Steve Kerr is coming back. They know Steph Curry will be back. But what do they do at pick 11? Bobby Marks standing by with their general manager, Mike Dunleavy.
I'm with Mike Dunleavy, the third pick in the 2002 NBA draft, and most important, the GM of the Golden State Warriors. How we doing?
Good, doing well. Fun week here. Glad to be here. It's productive, getting some work done, seeing some players, and having a good time.
So you've got a long list on the to-do list this offseason, and it certainly started with bringing back your Hall of Fame coach, Steve Carr.
Yeah, I think that was the first order of business for us, and we're thrilled to have Steve back. The greatest coach in franchise history, one of the best ever. So for me personally, great partner. I think it's best for our players and our organization, our fans, so we're excited about it.
How about this draft? You have the 11th pick in this year's draft. You also have a second-round pick. Just talk to me a little bit about, I know we still have a little bit of a process to go through in the next 5 weeks, but the strength of this year's draft.
Yeah, I mean, obviously obviously everybody's talked about the top of it, but I think there's pretty good depth. And, you know, we're looking at a wide range of players. We're looking at players we could take at 11, and then we're looking at players we could take at 54. And, frankly, it's going to be interesting this year with the college stuff, the NIL thing. There's just going to be a lot of seniors taken in the second round, so we got to be ready. But, yeah, it's a fun time of year.
How has this process changed in the last 24 years when you went through it coming out of Duke?
I mean, look, I came to the Combine in Chicago, different location, but a lot of the same stuff. It's some of the, you know, the medical testing, the physical testing, the vertical didn't do too well there, but it's a lot of the same stuff. And you're always hoping to see the most amount of players play, and we got a good amount this year. But you know, the interviews, the whole thing, a lot of it's the same because we're all trying to learn about these guys, figure them out, and decide who we want to draft.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for making some time.
Of course. No
Kevin, back to you.
Bobby, thanks. That's a fascinating team to discuss here at the NBA level. The Golden State Warriors against Steve Kerr, who, by the way, is not yet a Hall of Famer despite being a 9-time NBA champion, 5 as a player, 4 as a head coach. Kerr will be back. Steph Curry will be back. Jimmy Butler coming off the ACL injury. Corey at 11. Where's a place Golden State could be going?
Well, let's start with Sean and King weren't here for my question for Shams. I honestly don't believe that the Golden State Warriors will be drafting for their team. I mean, in my opinion, they're all in on trying to get Giannis.
Yes.
They made an offer for Giannis at the trade deadline. You're not going to waste the final years of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr with younger players. And there's no one. You can go to one. AJ, DP, Cameron Boozer, Caleb Wilson. None of those guys are going to help Steph Curry win an NBA championship in the next 2 years. So what you're looking at is using this pick and trying to find a way to get Giannis or the closest thing that you can get to him to add to the guys that you already mentioned around Steph Curry to try to get him a 5th championship before he retires.
Who do they have to be able to pull off that type of trade in terms of draft equity or personnel? Because their roster is depleted.
No, it's not as depleted as you may think. If you go back and look at what they've been able to do, Brandon Pajemski, Quentin Post, okay, yep. Moses Moody, even though he was injured, will be coming back from the year. You've got a number of great pieces who have grown up and guys who have won a ring with the Golden State Warriors that you may be able to move.
But are those guys enough for Giannis?
Are they enough for Giannis?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even.
But again, now you're also talking about draft capital. You're talking about a pick. You're talking about. Let's face it. How many guys are Milwaukee going to be able to sign as a free agent?
Well, that's one thing. The other thing is, could you bring in a third team to be part of that deal and then sweeten that pot? And that may be the route that they would have to go in it. I completely agree with you that if you're looking right now at Golden State, no matter what they do at 12, they're not getting somebody that is going to help them win now, and they are in a win now mode. And you go back in the history of during this run, once this roster was constructed, you know, they had at one point in time they drafted James Wiseman at the top of this draft. He couldn't help them win a championship. He didn't play, he didn't develop.
Jonathan Kuminga, the exact same way. Look how he played a little bit with Atlanta down the stretch there. There were some flashes of productivity.
Yes. And so I think that right now the trade out of that pick, if you're able to extend out or reopen a championship window that presumably has been closed by Oklahoma City and San Antonio.
Now, I wholeheartedly agree with you guys. I'm going to just play devil's advocate real quick. If they have to draft somebody, I would say Yaxel would be the closest thing to help you win right now. I'm not saying it's enough, but he's the closest thing to help you win.
Guys, we got another game here. Game 2 about to get underway. There's Cam Carr, the sensational sophomore out of Baylor, coming off an electrifying year. He's a super intriguing prospect in this draft. We'll get to see Dylan Mitchell. Jeremy Fears had a fabulous year this past year at Michigan State. You want rim protection, you'll see it in Trevon Brazile and Ugana Onyensu. And then Tyler Tanner, what a great year he had at Vanderbilt this past year. He'll play for Team Weems today. We'll get a look in this game as well at Toby Lawal, who jumped out of the gym yesterday. Nick Martinelli, the great year at Northwestern. Otega Owe, who was part of this a season ago at the NBA Draft Combine, and then two really intriguing guys in Malachi Moreno and Flory Badunga.
There's some dudes to watch in this game. Cam Carr playing with Jeremy Fears. Cam Carr is going to have 3 or 4 in transition ahead of the field. Carr type of dunks. Because, I mean, that guy's going to get advanced passes, and his head is going to be at the rim.
And that's where Jeremy Fears specialized. I mean, he was arguably the best passer. I mean, you talk about him and Braden Smith in college basketball last year. But that Michigan State team was very limited off the bounce. So Jeremy Fears had to do a lot offensively when it talked about creation. And I agree with you 100%. He's going to make Cam Carr look really good. That's something he didn't have this year. Cam Carr had to do all of this with no point guard at Baylor.
But for a guy like a Jeremy Fears, right, and we've talked about point guards and ad nauseum on our show, is Jeremy Fears the type of point guard that can score enough and is that much of an offensive threat to make an NBA organization say he's our guy, or is he that much of a pest defensively, like a Jose Alvarado that we talked about, to where you say, okay, he can be our third guard in our organization and come in and help us out?
I love Jeremy Fears. I love his leadership. I love his ability to initiate offense. In this moment in time, no one's guarding him off the ball.
100%.
And can he guard the ball? Yes. The best thing for that guy is he goes back and he has another monster year. And Michigan State continues to grow and develop. You know, no matter how he plays here, he's a very good player. He's a great college player. But it's your league. What you played in is the most exclusive club in the world. This is a great platform for him to continue to get information back.
Agree. Another guy, Kylan Boswell. You watched him at Arizona. He reclassed up. Came out of high school a year early. And now he finds himself fighting for a job. He was teammates at Team Why Not with Jerry McCain. Those guys were supposed to be elite freshmen coming in together, and now you see Boswell fighting for his life.
We're going to have much more from Game 2 coming up here in just a bit, but we've got a future NBA lottery picked. Joining us here on the set momentarily, we will chat with Arkansas freshman Darius Acuff on the other side of this.
Howdy, Roadrunner. You're very fast.
Well, I drink Red Bull.
But you do realize...
Yes, Red Bull gives you wings, but, I'm scared of heights.
Oh.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Summer Edition, with the taste of Sudachi Lime. Wings for your summer.
Introducing the first ever Infiniti QX65. The world can stop, freeze, fall behind. But the Infiniti QX65 is unstoppable. The first ever Infiniti QX65.
Toon Blast. Underestimated at your peril. It requires dexterity, precision, and most importantly, a little panache. Remember, success is never an accident. What are the moves?
Taking a little breather. Corona. La Playa awaits.
Let's be honest. Painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much do we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
I foster a lot of dogs. One time this Instacart shopper could tell I was really stressed out. 3 bottles of cleaner, food, paper towels, and then a slice of cake. She went out of her way to walk through it with me, which meant a lot. Instacart definitely makes everything feel less overwhelming.
In a recent TV commercial, I mentioned that my mother had switched to Pure Talk. Now people want me to prove it. So, here's Mom.
Hi, Mike.
Please tell America why you switched.
Because you said I should.
For those of you who aren't my mother, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's half the cost of the big guys with no contracts and no commitments.
You've always had commitment issues, haven't you, Mike?
Pure Talk, where the savings are as real as the mothers.
Over 80 tests. Over 850 hours.
Before it travels the world, it gets pushed to the limit. Built to move, built to last.
That's the Away upgrade. You deserve to get away.
This young man is beyond special.
What did AI say when he signed this deal with Reebok? The next him.
I knew he could score. What I did not know was his will to win.
I'm always just thinking win.
It's A-Cup, quick release. Oh my goodness, he did it again!
He is a monster.
Two players in the history of the Southeastern Conference led the league in scoring and assists. Pistol Pete Maravich and Darius Acuff Jr., who joins us now here on the set.
That's some great company right
there. Great company. Darius, we appreciate the time here. How would you describe how the past 6 months have prepared you for this moment?
It's been, if anything, a learning experience more than anything. Just learning from Coach Cal, building a relationship at Arkansas, and then, you know, the season didn't end how we want to, but just working out. I've been in Santa Barbara working out, preparing for the draft, and it's just been great for me.
When you were young, going back to your freshman, sophomore years in high school, you were solely scorer. Everybody thought you solely scorer. When you went to IMG, people saw a different side of your game, your ability to pass the basketball, and you truly showed that off at Arkansas this year. You've always had it, but what was it about this year that really made you focus on being a playmaker as well as a scorer?
I just realized, you know, you need your teammates to win more. I think high school, I just wanted to score and prove my point on the court. But in college, you can't do that. That's kind of selfish, and you're not going to make the tournament win it, or you're not going to win like that. So, you know, just talking to Coach Carr every day, Coach Chen helping me, and just going out there and getting my teammates involved, I just seen it was better for the team.
You've mentioned Coach Cal a couple of times here. We obviously know his lineage of having elite-level guards. What is it about Coach Cal that translates so well with the guard position and translated so well to your growth and development throughout the course of this season?
Yeah, it wasn't always easy, I would say. Like I said, I picked up a lot of learning points from him, but like every game, every practice, it got better for me. It got easier over time, and you know, he knows how to play his guards. We all know that, of course, but he installs confidence in you every day. He wants to see you be great. So I feel like if a player got confidence in himself and his head coach do, you can go a long way.
When we talk about the guards of Coach Cal, one of the guys on his staff, a dude who I played against many times, Tyler Eulis. What was your relationship like with him? How much did you learn from him over the course of the season?
Yeah, I learned a lot to you, man. Any questions I ever had, like about the offense or whatever, I went to him because he know the whole system. He knows what Cal wants. So to you, he's big bro to me. He loves to teach you, I would say, because he learned a lot. He was a point guard. He know the system, and his IQ was as high as anybody. So
crazy. Yeah,
if you got a question for sure, I always went to him.
It wasn't no issues with the Chicago, Detroit. It wasn't no issues there.
Nah.
But let me ask you this. Okay, so you are going to hear your name called early on draft day, right? Where is it that you have to improve your game to be able to step on the floor day one at the NBA level and be effective?
Definitely the defensive end, for sure. I think everybody knows that. I think I just got to take more pride in it, put more effort into it, and just be more focused on that side of the ball so I not only play but stay on the court when I'm on there. So I think definitely that side of the ball, and just, you know, I think I'm already more of a vocal leader, but just picking up that point because you got a lot of vets on your team in the NBA. So
I've known you for a long time. You talk a lot more on the court than you do off the court. Relatively reserved and laid back, but you actually are more vocal on the court. You would agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
How would you describe that leadership, your style of leadership? If I was drafting you onto a team that I was a general manager of, what kind of leadership are you providing on day one when you walk in the building?
I would definitely say a guy that's not scared to speak up. Like I just said, you got vets in the NBA, and some guys might be scared to say something. I don't feel like I'm that guy. As the quarterback of the team go as you go. So I would say just a vocal leader for sure. Also leading by example, and just showing guys the right way, and also me learning from other people too.
You know, you mentioned that you're working out in Santa Barbara, and then you talk about how one of the areas you need to improve is your defense. In these workouts, how do you work on your defense?
Yeah, you just work on reaction drills, I would say. Just working on how to react to, certain plays faster. Like especially if you off ball, you got to always be alert. So I say just practicing, where to be at the right time, or get over this screen, or, whatever that defensive scheme is. You just work on it, learn how to get up into the ball, and like I said, reaction time, so you get more steals.
Well, you don't have to work on speed. We saw that yesterday in the three-quarter court sprint. No one at the combine here this year ran it faster, 3.06 seconds. What enables you to be at your best playing at a high speed, especially in the open court?
Yeah, growing up, I was small, so I was kind of like one of those fast little guys. I was always passing and running fast down the court, so I think I always kind of had the speed. I feel like every time I get in the open floor, something good is going to happen. So I just feel like that's important for me and my team, for sure.
When you watch your guys play, Trevon, Brazile, you watch different guys who you played with throughout this year, and through their process, are you sitting here supporting those guys, cheering them on? You having a lot of conversations with them, even when you guys are off the court?
Yeah, I've been keeping up with everything. I told somebody yesterday, today, that Billy had the best combine to me. He shot the ball well. He actually tied me for the three-quarter sprint. It was me and him in first place, I think. So, yeah, I've been supporting them, keeping up with all this stuff. Them two and Malik. So we all keep up with each other. We support each other. That's just how we is.
And you mentioned Malik. There were a lot of people that thought that you and Malik wouldn't work. I'm sure you heard that going in, that didn't think you and Malik wouldn't work. Not only did you guys work together, you excelled. What was it about that relationship between the two of you guys that allowed you guys to be so successful this year?
Yeah, we both had the same goal, which is to make it, here one day to the NBA. And I think, if you got one guy that's cold, you probably can stop him. But if you got two killers, you probably can't do nothing with that.
That's that Detroit right there.
Yeah.
Well, to seal that, you were cold, especially down the stretch of the season. What was that stretch like at the SEC tournament, then into the NCAA tournament, where the numbers and the efficiency were at such an eye-popping elite level?
Yeah, it was time to step up. I knew I could play like that, but I feel like once that, end of February, March hit, it was time to, step up and show where I belong. So I kind of just took advantage of it and just kind of made it personal every night for me. And, it worked out good. And like I said, I wanted to win so bad. I didn't want to lose. So the SEC tournament was definitely the start of it, I feel like.
To piggyback off Sean's question, right? You were super cold down the stretch, but there was so much outside chatter, and I'm sure you heard it. There was Kendrick Perkins, there was Stephen A. All these different guys are talking about how good you are. How much do you pay attention? Right? I know you're probably going to say you don't, but how much do you actually pay attention to all that outside chatter?
No, it's not that I don't. It's just like you're going to see it. Like everybody on their phone, you're going to see it pop up on Instagram. You see it pop up on Twitter. I'm not going to sit up and act like I never seen it, but to hear that from them, like Perkins, my guy, like just to hear them talking like that, it's great for me. It encourages me to go keep playing that way, I would say. But yeah, I see it all, of course, but I kind of just scroll past it sometimes, just to, because I know I can't get too comfortable because that never goes well for nobody.
Who is your comp? If you were going to comp yourself to somebody in the league, past or present, who would it be?
Right now, I'd probably say Dame. Right now, but I kind of think I got my own game a little bit. I think I kind of do different things than other people.
I agree that you do your own thing, and one thing that I love that you do, especially in today's game, you don't show everybody your whole bag. If you just go by, you just go by it. And what is it about, and really more so your training, to where you say, I'm not going to waste effort and energy by showing this guy all my different moves. I'm just going to go by it.
Yeah, I don't really think I need to. I don't think, like you said, I feel like nobody can stand in front of me, so why sit up there and take 20 dribbles on you when I know you can't stand in front of me? But certain times you do have to pull it out. When you're playing against a guy that's strong, that's built like a football player, that be fouling, you might have to pull something out your bag. But for me, it's just a simple move and get to the rim. I'm always worried about the second line of defense, not really the first.
That's the crazy part. His elite level reading of the secondary defensive players that help set up the table for his teammates or for himself.
We started the interview with a great nugget. Here's one to end it. 3 players have won SEC Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year: Anthony Davis, Brandon Miller, and Darius Acuff Jr. Darius, good luck. Enjoy this process, and best of luck in your pro career.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Arkansas freshman superstar Darius Acuff Jr. here at the NBA Draft Combine. Darius made noise all season. One dude is making noise in a major way in our second scrimmage. We're going to talk about him next.
When you're traveling with 3 kids and pretty much everything they own,
hi guys,
it matters where you stay. Book your summer stay now. Hilton, for the stay.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much did we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Don't hold back, cause you woke up in the morning with the mission to move, so I ain't got don't hold back. Galvanized.
Trajectory and balance look good. You're confirmed to go for orbit.
Every day, Michelin innovates to move the world forward on the road and far beyond. Michelin, motion for life.
Introducing the Jalapeno Ranch Club.
I need a little ranch, step to the ranch.
Spicy, grilled, original, all ranched up. Candied bacon, a buttermilk ranch bun, pickled jalapenos, and pepper jack cheese with a kick.
Yeehaw, that's the way it goes at the ranch.
Available for a limited time. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
Chipotle Honey Chicken is back. Step into summer with fresh grilled chicken, spicy Chipotle peppers, and the perfect touch of pure honey. Open the summer with Chipotle Honey Chicken. It's taking heat and sweet to a whole new level.
It's like 100 degrees. Because I sweat a lot, I went to Men's Warehouse and got a suit with a special fabric called Chill Flex that breathes and keeps me cool.
Love your suit.
It's a little hot to be flirting, don't you think?
No, I don't.
What table are you at?
Never quite know how these scrimmages are going to play out, but through a quarter and some change, we have seen Cameron Carr, King McClure, a fellow Baylor Bear, sparkle. He's got 12 points on 4 made three-pointers.
Talking to him, one thing that he said is when he is straight up and down on his jumper and he's not leaning back, that increases his accuracy, and that's something that he specifically started to work on as soon as the season ends. He said a lot of his inconsistencies was due to his landing spot, how he didn't land in the same place, how he used to lean back. That's why he would miss short a lot of the time, and that's one thing that I feel like he's doing a much better job of right now. And his release point with his elevation, it's so hard to be able to contest, especially with the wingspan.
Is he the one guy we all said in this environment he was going to absolutely crush it?
Yes, you said it.
Athleticism, length, can defend. I'm done for the day. I'm like a clown. I'm done.
You're done for the day? And if I was Cam Carr's agent, I'm across the way going, you're done for the day.
He's done for tomorrow.
Shut him down. I mean, look, he came in as a guy that was projected to be a first-round pick. You can see him number 22 by Jeremy Wu. And he comes out here and puts on this type of performance where it's not just the shot-making ability that he's demonstrated already. He's rebounded the ball decently well, and he does one of the things that Scott Drew mentioned yesterday with us on the program, his ability to block shots on the perimeter because of his length and his verticality. Had a sensational block on a closeout early in this scrimmage. I think he has shown everybody exactly what we thought we would see out of him, and he's done it at such an efficient and elite level. He doesn't have anything else left to prove here at the Combine.
And King can attest this. He's another one of those guys that you're going to love in an interview. And to get a chance to talk to.
He's incredible.
He
man.
is fun to be around. And again, his dad was an NBA player. He's coming from lineage. He's been around the game his entire life. And when you consider, now his dad was a dog. I mean, just a flat-out monster.
His sister was a dog, too.
And so you got the bloodlines already. But Cam Carr just showing off one of the reason why he is a projected lottery pick. But first-round pick. But one of the things that you love about him most is you see he wants to compete. Very few guys projected as first-rounders are going to play. And most likely, he won't play much more. But he is playing today.
I love his playing. And the guys that aren't playing, they watching this dude, he's improving his stock by basically trusting himself. He's betting on himself.
Huge first quarter for Cam Carr, and Team Rivers running away from Team Weems here so far. We got Bobby Marks roaming the crowd, standing by. We come back. He's going to chat with the GM of the Sacramento Kings, Scott Perry, the 7th pick overall. Some revealing answers for Sacramento on the way.
America, this tournament might be fought on the pitch, but it'll be won in the backyard barbecues. Nice save. That guy looks like Tim Howard.
I am Tim Howard.
Jim Beam, official spirit of U.S. soccer.
Gravity Defier for life. IMS for life.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much do we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Air protection.
You want to see great players? We've got that. You want to see excitement? We've got that. Oh, that play. Shot of a lifetime. Tremendous shot. That's a beauty. I just don't know what else you could ask for.
The PGA Championship, Thursday through Sunday, live on ESPN and the ESPN app.
We're back day 2 at the NBA Draft Combine. Sacramento Kings. You see some of the key players there. Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan. Plenty of voids to fill on this team. They own 3 picks in the draft. 2 early in the second round. Of course, the biggest one, the 7th overall pick. Bobby Marks with their general manager, Scott Perry.
I'm with Scott Perry, the general manager of the Sacramento Kings. Scott, how are we doing?
Doing great, Bobby.
Long time. We used to be TV partners. Now you're back in the league, running the team.
Yeah, how about that?
Did you miss the TV side?
I miss it a little bit. I do miss it a little bit. I had a great time with people like yourself and loved working at ESPN there. And a great experience for me, but obviously enjoyed being back on this side and trying to do what I've been used to doing is rebuild a franchise. So.
Well, you had a season that was certainly marred by injuries. I think you didn't even get the training camp, and Keegan Murray was already injury, and you had ranked in the top 10 in most games, 34 different starting lineups. What did you learn a little bit about going through the process last year?
You learn a lot about people and your team and your organization when you go through adversity like that. But I'm someone that always tries to find the positive in that. And what the positive was, it afforded an opportunity for the young guys that we drafted this past season. And so learned about them, their resilience, and how quickly they started to adapt to the NBA game. So in some ways, it may be a benefit for us moving forward that those unfortunate injuries happened because they got an opportunity to play.
One of the things that you mentioned in your after the season in your press conferences was the ability to get younger, and certainly with this draft having 3 picks, including the 7th pick in the draft and an early 2nd, you're going to have the ability to do that.
Absolutely, and fortunately, this class is shaping up to be so strong, and a lot of good young players, like you mentioned. So this is another opportunity for us, especially drafting this high, to get what we hope is an upper-tier talent to add to our talent base and add to the youth movement that we're trying to create.
I think people forget about, you do have the 7th pick in the draft, and you have a pick in the 30s here, but the ability to find players that are not drafted, the ability to go out and find two-way players to your roster here, and you guys certainly had pretty good fortune with that last season.
Yes, we were fortunate to find a young man like Dylan Caldwell, who we signed immediately after the draft was over. He went undrafted. We signed him to a 2-year, 2-way contract. And from the moment he stepped foot in our facility in Summer League, his personality, his passion for the game was evident. He just needed someone to continue to work with him and believe in him. plays extremely hard, and he just kept getting better and better. And he was one of the lead rebounders in the G League. And again, those injuries provided an opportunity and a necessity for him to come in and play for us early. And he played so well that we took him off of the two-way contract and made him a full contract player. And he continues to get better. And that's what you need. And you know, as you know all too well in team building, you got to find players in a variety of ways. You're not always going to be fortunate enough to always get high draft picks. You find guys like that, those that help build the foundation of your team, and hopefully he's going to be one of those guys.
I appreciate you spending a couple minutes with me, and good luck in the next 5 weeks leading up to the draft.
Thanks so much, Bobby. Good luck to you too. You keep doing an awesome job that you do covering this game for us.
I appreciate it. Kevin, back to you.
Bobby, thanks. What a fun chat with Scott Perry, who, I mean, look, there's a lot of work to do here with a Kings team that won 22 games this past season. They've got an established superstar there in DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis as well. Corey, is there a safest pick for this team?
I don't know if it's the time to play safe. I think there's a perfect pick for them, and it's the young man that just left our set. Darius Acuff, to me, is the perfect fit for the Sacramento Kings. And I'm sure that Acuff doesn't want to go as far down as 7, when some people may have him at 5. But at this level, the fit matters more, simply because, as we see, Chris Carr wants. I mean, Cameron Carr
go sit down
with another dunk. But the fit and how you're able to perform, the minutes you get, the role that you play, get you a better opportunity at that second contract. And for Darius Acuff, I believe that is one of the very few organizations that he will walk into and they say, here's the ball, lead us. And again, I think that they have that opportunity for him available, and it's a perfect fit for him to do it in Sacramento.
It's unique, right? Because you're looking at this Kings roster. It's actually an older roster than you would think. And because of that age, going young makes a lot of sense. It's also, are they a team that can make a play to try to get a veteran guard that they feel maybe boosts them up a little bit more at this point in time? I think you've got to acknowledge where you are in the Western Conference. You need to look up and you need to say, okay, there's OKC, there's the Spurs. Let's go to that. Like, there's a lot of ladders and steps in that ladder. You need to step over the top to be considered a championship team. If you feel that Darius Acuff can be that lead guard that helps you turn that corner, or you have a guard on your board that you feel like you can do that, then you'd make that play.
Do they want a quick fix, or do they want a long-term solution?
Yeah.
I look at Sacramento. I understand under Mike Brown they made the playoffs, and that, would you say they ring the bell or whatever?
Like the beam.
All that stuff. That's great. I don't spend a lot of time in Sacramento, but you've got to decide whether long-term, Acuff, you got to build around him if you're going to go with him. Short-term, you try to get a value for that pick.
You know what's interesting is when we talked to Kingston Flemings earlier, one guy who he compared himself to was De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox had a lot of success in Sacramento, so that could be another option. But I do agree with Corey that Darius Acuff is the best fit for Sacramento. However, I think Kingston Flemings, with the success they've had with De'Aaron Fox and a similar replica of that, right, a little different but similar, I do think that Kingston Flemings could be another guy you could fit into that mold.
Corey, you started to say if you're Darius Acuff, I don't think you want to go at number 7. I thought you were saying, I don't think you want to go to Sacramento.
I would never say such a thing. Sacramento pays just like everybody else. But Sean will tell you, them California taxes, woo, baby.
Woo, baby. What are you talking about? It's a great place to live.
Hey, if you're looking to pick someone in the second round, maybe, Jacoby Gillespie has 13. Cam Carr with 16. What a shooting performance.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much did we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Don't hold back, cause you woke up in the morning with the mission to move, so I make a heart. Don't hold back. Galvanize.
Trajectory and balance look good. You're confirmed to go for orbit.
Every day, Michelin innovates to move the world forward on the road and far beyond. Michelin, motion for life.
Gold Peak tea is brewed from real tea leaves, grown in a real tea field, under a real sun, which is real hot.
Chipotle Honey Chicken is back. Step into summer with fresh grilled chicken, spicy Chipotle peppers, and the perfect touch of pure honey. Open the summer with Chipotle Honey Chicken. It's taking heat and sweet to a whole new level.
Over 80 tests, over 850 hours.
Before it travels the world, it gets pushed to the limit.
Drop tested, mileage tested, performance tested.
Compressed, pulled, dropped again.
Tested, then tested again. Because durability isn't claimed, it's earned.
Built to move, built to last.
That's the Away upgrade. You deserve to get away.
Introducing the Jalapeno Ranch Club. Spicy, grilled, original, all ranched up. With a jalapeno kit. Available for a limited time. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
The stars of today meet the stars of tomorrow. The NBA Draft, a two-day event on ESPN and ABC.
Shut him down.
Go back to it.
The NBA Draft coming your way in June. We've got playoff basketball coming your way tomorrow, and the Pistons and Cavs have at it in Detroit, 8 o'clock Eastern. You can catch it on ESPN. NBA tip-off gets things started at 7 o'clock Eastern, leading into a very important Game 5 in Detroit. We are watching one of the great shooting displays in the history of the NBA Draft Combine, Sean. Cam Carr, 5 of 6 from three-point range.
7 of 9, and his last 3 was from the E on the combine. I mean, it was a logo 3. It's 19 points already here in the first half. He has nothing left to prove to anybody except for just go ahead and, make defensive efforts, block shots, rebound, all the things that he's already proven he can do.
He's shown that, though. I mean, he got the block shot on the three-pointer. He caught the lob. I mean, every facet of his game in which that you want to see, he has shown it. And even when we talk about the range, I mean, shooting it from the E, that looked effortless. The jumper, everything that we have wanted to see from Cam Carr, we have seen. Please go sub yourself out.
I'm telling you, this is eerily similar to a performance I saw in 2022 here by Jalen Williams. J-Dub performed like this, but we also know what J-Dub did defensively. But when you look at the wingspan, the athleticism, and the ability to shoot the basketball, we saw Jalen Williams have a very similar type of performance here. And J-Dub, believe it or not, came back and played a second day. Yeah. And he also was a number 12 pick and has been an all-star and just signed a max deal. So, therefore, maybe Cam Carr knows a little something that we don't know.
Why are we surprised? Because he's being who he is. He's not reinventing himself to play out here. He's a 6'6" elite athlete that can make shots, that's an active and alert defender, and has blocked shots. He's an offensive rebounder. He's a guy who's explosive in transition. Now, look, he's not going to make every shot every night, but he's not doing anything he hasn't done. Yeah. This is kind of the player he is.
The crazy thing is Jacoby Gillespie is like, you guys keep talking about Cam Carr. He's 7 of 9, 4 or 5 from deep with 18 points.
And that's who he is, though.
And he's doing it. Like the floor spacing and the ball movement, I think, by Team Rivers has been outstanding so far here in the first half. The way that they're sharing the basketball, everybody's spacing the floor, turning down, as Coach talks about a lot of times in the studio, turning down that good shot to get that great shot. You've seen that here in the first half.
And no disrespect at all to Scott Drew and Baylor. Love those guys. But one thing that both those guys have in common, they both played for Rick Barnes. And again, when you want to talk about someone who has developed a lot of pros, even though it didn't necessarily go the way that Cameron Carr wanted it to, he still spent a lot of time and learned a lot from the great Rick Barnes, especially from a defensive mentality.
Especially the 2 spot.
Yes.
But the great thing is, this is why I love Scott Drew. He sat right here yesterday
said the same thing.
And said exactly, he said, you know what? he didn't get as many opportunities because of the people he was behind at Tennessee.
Yes.
But he was in there each and every day playing against those guys and being coached by Rick Barnes.
Yeah, you guys kicked me off the set, so I didn't get to hear that.
But that's
a very nice.
Thank you. I'm sure you guys did great.
What Scott did to me is what we need more in my own profession, is that pay homage to the guy that coached the guy before you, because there's so much transition with the poor old guys going to school. The guys that laid the foundation for these players to be the best version of themselves is the guy probably that he played before.
And mind you, Cam Carr did all of this, you guys, with no point guard. Baylor did not play with a point guard one time. You had a guy in, I'm not going to name any names.
You already did.
But he could not.
Wait a second, let me see where Carr just threw this dude. He didn't go under the bus. He might be on. I'm not sure where he is.
That's the next question for Scott Drew at the next booster meeting.
The reality is, right? The reality is that Cam Carr did not have an elite level point guard that played with him. So he was asked to do a lot off the bounce. He was asked to do things that I think at the next level he would not be asked to do, but he was still crazy efficient. So imagine having a real point guard or a real playmaker, because the one thing we can't overlook right now is when you talk about Dylan Mitchell. I mean, 7 assists. He can pass the ball. He's a good playmaker at that point forward spot. And I think he just makes the game easier. So when you have playmakers around Cam Carr at the next level, I think he will shine even more.
We spent a lot of time in the last game talking about Matt Abel and saying we can't overreact to something that we're seeing here in a scrimmage. My question to you guys is, how much can we react to what Jacoby, Gillespie, and Cam Carr are doing? How much can that change opinions this first half?
I think, look, the difference is this. Like, Cam Carr was seen as a first-round prospect when he put his name on the sheet that said, I want to play today. And so it shows a certain level of competitiveness. There's not a lot of first-round guys that said they want to put their name in and go ahead and play on this situation. Not only has he played, but he has excelled and done exactly what we thought that he can do, and he has showcased the very best of what he can do. And to Corey's point of what he was just talking about, whether it's Jalen Williams, whether it's Brandon Pajemski, whether it's A.J. Mitchell, whether it's the Nemhards that have come out and played well and improved their stock, this is an opportunity for this young man who is already a first-round pick to make a statement with all the eyes on him on the floor. Everybody's watching him right now.
Gillespie and Cam Carr were all league-type players.
Yep.
Matt Abel was a six-man on a barely NCAA team that was a talented team. They had good guards. So, like, you had a greater expectation for these guys. But there's another guy you just mentioned, and we mentioned happenstance, Dylan Mitchell. Right? Dylan Mitchell is what? He's a 6'7", what would you call him? Hybrid, elite defender, wing, 7 assists. He initiates offense. You're not going to like this. Take a deep breath. I'm not saying he is who he is, but in terms of as a player, his skill set in terms of how he plays, he's a homeless Scottie Pippen.
Oh, my goodness.
Timeout. What did he do to me earlier? I got to take a 30-second timeout. I got to take a 30-second timeout. Because I'm going to give you the same thing that you gave me earlier. You sat up here and got on. No. Oh, no, sir.
I knew I would get that reaction.
No, sir. You sat up here and got on to me.
Pippen could very well be.
Hey, Corey, hold on.
Let's go. Bring it, King.
You sat up here. Coach, you sat up here and got on me for saying that if Bob Miller could shoot, right, he would be a lottery pick. And you sat up here and just said, Coach, that he is a poor man's version of Scottie Pippen.
I said homeless.
My bad. Homeless. A homeless version of Scottie Pippen, and respectfully, Scottie Pippen and Dylan Mitchell, shouldn't he be in the same category?
How are they using Dylan Mitchell right now?
Scottie Pippen.
No, just ask me a question.
You said your words. Your words.
Pip is about to text me.
Your words, Coach.
Pip is
do
going to
not
text me.
overreact to what you were saying. Hold on.
Pip is going to text me.
I'm going to use your words to get you.
Soon. I know it.
Coach, you said do not overreact to what we are seeing out here. That was your whole mantra earlier.
That's the reason St. John's flipped their season is when Rick Pitino had the intuition to put the ball in Dylan Mitchell's hands as a point forward. I'm saying he's a point forward. That was the comparison.
But you should have just left it at that.
There are a lot of point forwards. You could have stopped that before you got the pick.
If I'm going to pick a point forward, I'm going to pick the very best one. What am I going to pick? Some guy, people say, who's that guy?
I mean, that would have been better, Coach. Scottie
Pippen. You sure with a full-time timeout. If you're going to call a timeout, go with the full.
I love working with Coach.
I knew that would light you up, Corey Alexander.
I'm just glad to be sitting between the two of you guys during this whole segment.
So easy to wind up. It's unbelievable.
Coach, do you have a comp for Cam Carr?
Cam Carr, that's a good one right there.
Michael Jordan.
You do have a comp. Everyone plays like someone. Who's a 6'6", electric, athletic guy that can jump up and make a shot.
Tremendous wingspan.
With a 7'1" wingspan.
Mm-hmm.
You done? You right?
No, I'm not okay. I got to answer to Scottie Pippen for this.
Hey, Scottie will be just fine. His kids are fine. They're good players. Life is good for the Pippen family. And Dylan Mitchell has played really well because he's doing what he can do, not what he can't do. 6 rebounds, 7 assists, only 1 turnover.
Oh, my. Gillespie with another 3.
That's ridiculous.
And what someone just said, a glorified pickup game. Did he not just call this that?
Yeah, but he's making the right play.
Well, he's got next.
Thank God this game just went to halftime.
Jacoby Gillespie with 24 points in the first half. Did he mean Scottie Pippen Jr., maybe?
A little bit.
Oh, no, listen, you jumped in this. Casey, how about I heard him say a mean thing about anyone?
Yes, KC. That must have been who he was talking about.
Jacoby Gillespie goes for 24. Cam Carr's...
He's going all Jalen Brunson on you.
He's going bananas. Cam Carr's most points in a first half this season were 20. He had 19 in the first half. Vanessa, take it away.
Cam Carr, you're doing everything. You're shooting threes, defending, blocking shots. What part of your game are you really hoping to show today?
Honestly, my ability to play defense. I'm here to play defense and show everybody I can play defense. So, defense.
Your combine has impressed a lot of people. What have you worked on the most?
Honestly, just working on my body, getting lower to the ground, handling the ball, and just being strong with the ball. No more turnovers. So.
I know your dad played, your sister played. Family is very important to you. What role have they played in your draft process?
Honestly, just motivation. You know, they just try to keep me on the right track, don't lose my head, and stay consistent. So that's the biggest part for them in my circle. So.
Best of luck in the second half, Cam.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys.
All right, Vanessa, thanks. Cameron Carr, Jacoby Gillespie have outscored Team Weems by themselves in this first half. 43-39, a shooting showcase from the former Baylor Bear and Tennessee Volunteer here in the Windy City.
When choosing the right gear to cut, trim, or mow your yard, Ace has all the power you need to get the job done right. Because gas or battery, your local Ace is the destination with the best power brands all under one roof, like Steel, Ego, Milwaukee, Craftsman, and Toro. And with free assembly and delivery, or ready for pickup in just 15 minutes, conquering your outdoor projects has never been easier. Around the block, what you need in stock, with service so good it's guaranteed.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Let's be honest, painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much do we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Hey you! Relax! Domino's large one-topping pizzas are just $7.99 when you carry out. But don't act now! This deal's here through this time next year, at least. So take the scenic route on down to...
my nose.
Playoffs are here, fellas. This has to be spotless.
What kind of big dummy put his handprint up there?
Shaq, you left your handprint up here?
What's the 7'6" kid that plays for San Antonio?
Wembanyama.
Yeah, it was him. I think we found him. Shut up, Charles.
Inside the NBA lives on ESPN and ABC.
A momentous UFL doubleheader Saturday.
Playoff push is officially on. Everybody has a chance to win.
So a lot to be decided. First, DC and Louisville clash in Derby City.
Momentum continues in DC's favor, but it's all about who's going to be the best team that day.
Then Houston and St. Louis battle in the Dome.
The fans here are all about it.
Bring them out, bring them out.
It's going to get rowdy.
The United Football League. Saturday beginning at noon on ABC.
Welcome back to the AWS NBA Draft Combine. At the half of a game, Jacoby Gillespie and Cameron Carr have shot the lights out. We're talking about Some non-lottery picks who've gone on to star in the NBA. Got to start with Giannis, 15th pick in 2013. 10-time All-Star, 2-time League MVP, former Defensive Player of the Year. Led the Bucks to a championship in 2021. He could be had for the right price here in the offseason. Kawhi Leonard was the 15th pick in the 2011 NBA draft. Spent his first 7 years in the league in San Antonio. Won a title in 2014. NBA Finals MVP along the way. Then led the Raptors to an NBA title. And maybe the best steal of all in the history of the NBA draft, Nikola Jokic, 41st pick in the second round of the 2014 draft. 3-time MVP, became the lowest drafted player ever to win the league MVP. He's coming off his second straight season averaging a triple-double. Some other notable second-round gems. Draymond Green was a second-round pick. Malcolm Brogdon out of Virginia, a second-round pick. Jalen Brunson has the Knicks on the verge of the NBA. Well, he's headed to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then Andrew Nembhard, a second-round pick in 2022. Back here in Chicago with Coach Seth Greenberg, Corey Alexander, Sean Farnham, and King McClure as we get ready to start the second half here. Corey, who are some potential second-round picks that could be steals for teams?
Well, when you think about in the first game, you got a guy like a Bruce Thornton, all-time leading scorer at Ohio State, who could be a third guard. Jaden Bradley, the Big 12 Player of the Year, most likely not in the first round, but was a McDonald's All-American and a guy that can absolutely get it done. And you can bring him in as a second-round pick. You're talking to Andrew Nembhards. You know, the guys like that become a third guard on their team's rotation early, but find their way often into the starting lineup. So, and that's really what this is about. When organizations come here, they know who the top 14 guys are going to be. I mean, for the most part, there's a list of guys that we're just going to choose between these on those. Those are the easy picks. It gets tougher when you get in that second round and you're trying to find value for those picks that you have and who can come out of that and not just become rotational players, but be a star in their role, like an A.J. Mitchell, who was a second-round pick 2 years ago, who has scored 24 and 28 points in his last 2 games where the Oklahoma City Thunder were able to sweep the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that are going to fall into that second round, right, that are going to be familiar names that if you watch college basketball, and certainly a lot of them are out here. One of them that's not here that I think is going to have an impact at that next level is Richie Saunders.
Oh, my gosh.
Richie Saunders from BYU. I think you think about his ability to shoot the basketball. He's a very good finisher around the basket as well. He's got toughness with his ability to rebound. In this couple games, like at Utah this year, he had 6 offensive rebounds in that game alone. And when you have that motor, that toughness, you think about a culture guy that is going to accept their role coming off the bench and be able to spark something and change the pace of the game when they go out there. I think Richie Saunders is going to be a second-round pick that somebody's going to sit through and wait for his recovery, let him play in the G League, and then basically a year from July show up at the Summer League and begin his NBA career.
Tyrus Reed, UConn. Positional size, rebounds the ball, very good passer, can score around the block, is in incredible shape, can change ends of the floor. If you saw where he was 2 years ago and where he is today, I mean, Tyrus Reed's going to make a roster. Could he be a Maurice Spates? Could he, he could be a backup 5 that can play 15 minutes a game and help an organization. I think he's a huge second rounder. I'm going to ask you guys. One guy we haven't talked about once today, though, or last 2 days, the Baron Philon. He's not a second rounder. No. But
he's a lottery pick.
He's a lottery
pick.
Well,
at the end of the lottery, we haven't talked about the guards.
Don't be so sure.
Yeah, we've talked about the best guards for the last day and a half.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned him once. It's kind of interesting that he hasn't come up in our conversation.
But he is beloved by many organizations, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that most NBA organizations truly appreciate the way that Nate Oates plays. And so for LeBaron Philon, who considered coming out last year, decides to go back to school, makes a lot more money, but more importantly, increases his draft stock significantly. I do believe he's a lottery pick. He could be, one of the later picks in the lottery, but when you start to put all these point guards together, Philon is still very young, only playing 2 years in college basketball, and showing that he can play off the ball, but much more impressive with the ball in his hands. Great positional size and athleticism. And he played through a lot of injuries this year and still was spectacular, averaging over 20 points per game.
Was here a year ago.
Yep.
Took part of this whole process. And to your point, goes back and looks to improve, right? Where does he improve the most? His three-point shot, plus 8.5% from beyond the arc on the season from where he was a year ago to where he is now. Still, obviously, his frame has to develop a little bit more, and that will help him at the defensive end of the floor. But did a great job of not shying away from contact, getting to the free throw line, showed the change of direction to get you on his hip and be able to put you in the opportunity where he can get to his floater game as well.
Let's not forget, he's also an underrated finisher. I mean, 67% at the rim. And his ability to be able to, he's hard to contain off the bounce because, number one, he takes good angles, and number two, his change of pace is incredible. I mean, when you look at him one-on-one, particularly the game against Michigan in the tournament, I mean, his ability to be able to shoot it off the dribble and get to wherever he wanted to go. The game against Arkansas, when you talk about that matchup, him versus Darius Acuff, where they both were going crazy in that game. I mean, LeBaron Philon, to me, at 6'2", is a guy that can also make an immediate impact because he can shoot the ball off the bounce. I value guards who can shoot it off the dribble. And like Sean said, he improved his three-point percentage. So with all of those things, I do think that he's a guy that we can look up next year and he could run an organization.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. He's not a second-round guy, but he's a guy that is potentially in the lottery or somewhere in the middle of that first round. That we, he's not out here.
Yeah.
We haven't even brought into the conversation.
No, it's completely valid.
He's had a monster year.
And in other years, Coach, we're talking about him all the time. But this is a unique class, right? That's got all of these guards that have that quote-unquote star factor about them. And he kind of gets a little bit lost in the shuffle in that conversation throughout the course of the year.
Back to two-guard and second-rounders. A guy like Nick Boyd, who's won everywhere he's been, who can basically make shots and defend and has some playmaking skill. Is he a guy that, Corey, like you think that, is he a guy that older, mature, shows the ability to score, has a little toughness about him? His measurables are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, all the guys that you consider like that can be successful, but like we said before, most of them are going to have to take the long road to do it. You think about Nick Boyd. Nick Boyd had a tremendous year at Wisconsin. He started his career playing for Dusty May at FAU. I mean, he played the Final Four, right? So again, this is a young man that's used to winning. He definitely has all the utensils available to him to make it. But when you don't hear your name called early, the road gets longer. You don't have as much opportunity. The situation may not be the best fit. You have to go fight through it. You look at a guy just walked in the game, Tyler Tanner.
Yeah.
I mean, elite college basketball player. Speed, quickness, passing ability, can defend this, that, and other. He's just smaller guard. And it's hard for a smaller guard, and it's harder for guys who have been in college for more than 1 year. There's a stigma to it, even if you're a sophomore. There's a stigma to it if you have stayed in college for more than 1 year.
Do you think now, though, with NIL, is that stigma kind of going to erase? I mean, that's going to be moved back. I'm going to give you another. I'm going to just throw names out. We're talking about second rounders. Ryan Conwell, elite skill.
Yeah. I mean, and he can score the basketball. He can shoot the basketball. He has that shooter mentality. And look, without Mikel Brown Jr. throughout the course of the season, he was relied on a little bit more than maybe he even thought he was going to be. Transferred in from Xavier, where he started when he was playing with Sean Miller as his head coach. And he's one of those guys. I think I'll throw another name. To your point, though, I think we're going to start seeing in the second round this year, and Casey, you brought it up a million times, how few of early entrants that we have in this draft.
Yeah.
And some of those early entrants
71
are going to continue to pull their name out of this draft and go back to college, which means even fewer and fewer, which means you're going to have to see teams look for pieces. And we've discussed this throughout the course of the last 2 days. When you're in the second round, in particular in this year's draft, you're looking at a guy, what is the one trait that he can bring to my roster that if we needed it, it can help? I'll go to Kingston Fleming sitting here, Emmanuel Sharp. Very good defensive player. Like he said, put him on Darren Peterson, put him on one night, and the next night he's on A.J. DeBonsa. And, oh, by the way, he can also shoot the ball. Like, that's a guy that you can maybe find in the second round that may end up sticking on a roster this year or working it from the G League back and forth as you need that at the NBA level.
I'll give you one. Zuby Ejiofor. When you look at him, he's a little undersized. Defensive player of the year in the Big East. 4 assists per game. Can stretch it a little bit, right? I think a guy like Zubi for extremely tough has won. I think a guy like him can maybe carve out a role. He's undersized to play the 5, but can he play the 4? Can he develop enough to maybe?
Don't have to play the 4. He can be undersized 5. Yeah.
Maybe like an Isaiah Stewart type. Yeah.
And also, anyone that has spent that much time with Rick Pitino, I'm willing to take a chance on him.
Yeah.
What about, here's 2 more names for you, two guys who were in college forever. What about Malik Brown from Duke? And Alex Caravan, who played in 3 national championships.
Now, personally, Alex Caravan is going to find his way on a roster. Alex Caravan, he shot really well in terms of the shooting drills. He's as good a cutter as there is in this draft. He's all about, we talk about intangibles and winning and competing and impacting winning. Good passer, not great passer, terrific cutter, can make open shots, keeps balls alive. And what I mean by that is sometimes you don't rebound the ball, but you keep a ball alive. He's a fit guy. I mean, he's a fit guy, a locker room guy. Whatever he's asked to do, he will champion it, and he will throw himself and get lost in that role.
Malik Brown, great steal rate, plus minus on the defensive box side. You know he can impact the game there.
Coming back to Chicago to chat with a guy who's going to be a lottery pick, Michael Brown Jr., right after this.
Let's be honest. Painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much did we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond by manufacturing prosthetic leg belts that allow for greater flexibility of movement. Michelin, motion for life.
Hello, Nicholas.
Whoa. Hey, Andrew Jones. Wait, what are you doing in my car?
Your car is not getting any younger. You need to call Car Shield and see how they can help you save some money on unexpected car repairs.
So you got in my car to help me save money?
Do you hate saving money?
No.
They have over 20 years of experience and are America's most trusted auto protection.
It just sounds like solid defense.
It's not 10 Gold Glove good, but it's close.
Well, I do need some Hall of Fame defense to help keep her on the road. I'm calling.
Great. My work here is done. Let's go get some milkshake.
Chipotle Honey Chicken is back. Step into summer with fresh grilled chicken, spicy Chipotle peppers, and the perfect touch of pure honey. Open the summer with Chipotle Honey Chicken. It's taking heat and sweet to a whole new level.
We recommend TimberTech 100% of the time when we're working on a waterfront or a dock area. It's a low-maintenance product, and it's resistant to the weather. It's something that's going to be here for a very long time. TimberTech, it's everything wood should be for docks.
Over 80 tests, over 850 hours.
Before it travels the world, it gets pushed to the limit. Built to move, built to last.
That's the Away upgrade. You deserve to get away. Introducing the Jalapeno Ranch Club. Spicy, grilled, original, all ranched up. With a jalapeno kick. Available for a limited time. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
Hey, couple things for you guys. Defensively, the pinch spots are annoying them, right? Be in those gaps. Secondly, on that, pick them up early, right? We're allowing them to just fly down the court, especially when we make a shot. Don't run back. Like, pick up the ball, everybody else get back, right? Stay in your pinch spots. Offensively, whenever we're organized and we're like 5 out and we're great. But balance the floor. If you're running to a side and there's 2 guys in the corner, someone else get through, right?
I like the energy now. Hey, you take a deep breath. We're just missing some easy ones, but we got to make sure we get stops. That's the only way we can go down and score the next time.
Hey, get the balance right, and bigs, wings, whatever. You guys get the rebound. You guys aren't the ones in a rush, right? Everybody else is running, right? That's where we're looking to advance the ball. Find Jeremy, find him, right, and play.
Hey, defensively, we don't want their energy to heat us up. Why not do that to them? A little more talk, a little more physicality.
Some of the sounds of the game, and speaking of sounds you've heard from us, the depth of this point guard class. Again, in a lottery.
KC, please stop calling this group point guards.
Combo guards or ball guards?
Combos.
Star guards here in this class, and the lottery is as good as any we've seen before. One player we haven't spent a lot of time talking about, Michael Brown Jr., who's standing by with Vanessa.
Michael, it has been a whirlwind of a week, I'm sure. What has stood out so far, and how has your experience been?
Yeah, I mean, this is the feeling of being here. This is something that I dreamed of since I was a child. To be in this environment, to be around these type of guys, man, you learn something new every day, and, you know, I'm just grateful to be in this position that I am, so.
You're such a dynamic shooter. You have great playmaking vision. What do you hope to bring to whoever drafts you?
Yeah, just a winning mentality, you know, just going in and whatever I got to do to win, I'm going to do. Just being an impact player, being adaptive, just doing what I do best, and, you know, being that leader on and off the floor as well, you know, being a great teammate off the floor, you know, connecting with my teammates, building a bond. I think that's what I do best, so.
You grew up in Orlando, Florida. Who did you look up to as a player in the NBA?
I looked up to a lot of people. There's not a specific person, but, you know, I'm obviously love all the guards, you know, Steve Nash, Chris Paul. I was thankful to have Rajon Rondo as my mentor this year, so I got to ask him a lot of questions. I'm pretty close with Donovan Mitchell as well. You know, he actually hit me up today. You know, we chatted a little bit, so I had a lot of people that I look up to and learn from, so.
As much as you're willing to share, what did Donovan Mitchell say to you?
I mean, he just asked how the first day was. I just said it's fun to be out here, man. Like I said before, it's just a blessing to be out here with these guys and being able to compete, but also know that, you know, we're all achieving our dreams, so it means a lot.
What do you feel like you've really learned during this combine process?
Yeah, I mean, everything's professional. You know, it's very professional. You got to carry yourself with class everywhere you go. You never know who you could run into, so like I said, it's exciting, man. It's just, I'm extremely happy to be here.
All right, I heard a fun fact about you. Do you love fishing?
I love fishing. I love fishing.
Okay, big fisherman here. So wherever you get drafted, they've got to have good fishing in that area, right?
Hopefully. I'll be out in the lake all the time.
So nice to meet you. Best of luck with the process.
You too. Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Vanessa, thanks. He's an explosive scorer, but if we spent time yesterday talking about Darren Peterson and his lack of availability at times for Kansas, Michael Brown Jr. played in 21 of 35 games for Louisville this season. Coach, how should teams evaluate that?
He's a unique talent because of his size, his skill set. Back issues are always a concern. If that was legitimately the problem, you have back issues at a young age, especially, is a concern. But again, he's such a young player. He's got a unique skill set. He can make threes. He sees over the defense. He's a creative passer. He can get in the lane. He can finish. He's got to get stronger. But, yeah, injuries, availability is the most important thing, especially if you're going to invest a lottery pick in a player because he's your future. So, I mean, I think this time, these games are important. The interviews and the medicals are as or more important than anything that happens out here.
I think the interviews are the most important part because he answers that question. I had an opportunity to call my first Louisville game this year. They played Memphis at home, and the team made 19 threes. I remember saying during that game, this team, the way they're currently constructed, can win a national championship. That's on a Saturday. 3 days later, at Tennessee, Michael Brown does not play. He goes on to not play the next 7 games. He comes back, he misses 8 games, plays a few, has a 45-point game on a big Monday, shows up big time, and then all of a sudden, he falls down at Clemson. Didn't seem like anything major. He misses the next 2 regular season games, doesn't play in the ACC tournament, and then doesn't play in the NCAA tournament. He missed 14 games. We're talking about Darren Peterson, who missed 11. Michael missed 14. His has to be treated the exact same way or even more significant, especially when he gets in those interview rooms.
Well, and to the positive side of things, and 100% correct. You talk about that 45-point game. I did a Louisville game in Fort Worth, Texas against Baylor. He was sensational, and he impacted the game at both ends of the floor, whether it was with his scoring ability, the offensive end, and his assists, or getting 6 steals in that game. I think when you look at his three-point field goal percentage at hovering around 34%, some of that was because he took some ill-advised shots, and his shot selection is an area where it can continue to improve. But when you watch him play and you see him at his best, when he was available, when he was out on the floor doing what he can, he is a special talent that deserves to be mentioned in the likeness of all the other guards that we've been talking about the last 2 days.
Here's my question, because we talk about being a lead guard. I think you have to be able to have a little bit of self-creation. You have to be able to play make. He's a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio guy. He took 270 field goals, and 160 of them were threes. Can he get by people? Can he actually create? That's my question. Can he be a lead guard based off of those facts and those numbers?
I would compare him more to a Wagler than I would an Acuff or Kingston Flemings.
Yes.
When you talk about athleticism, he and Wagler about the same size, right? But neither of those guys are. No, Michael's a much better vertical athlete. He's a much better vertical athlete. So when he gets to the rim, he can absolutely finish. But he uses his skill to beat people off the bounce. And I don't know that at the NBA level he will be as successful in doing that. Where we mentioned talking with Darius Acuff, he uses speed and quickness to beat people off the bounce. And he's not looking at that initial defender. He's looking at what's going on. After I beat this guy standing in front of me, where's the help going to come from? And I think that's something that puts Kingston and Darius, from just a talent standpoint alone, ahead of a Wagler and or a Michael Brown. But those two guys shooting allows them, and their size allows them to be able to play off the basketball, which I think gives them another opportunity to be successful.
Michael Brown, we did his Louisville game against Kansas. The Darren Peterson.
The DP 24 in the first half game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We all remember that one.
And he was so caught. My concern for him was he was so caught up in Darren Peterson, Michael Brown, the stage. He over-prepared. I got in 2 days before. The guy practiced, but before practice, he went for an hour plus working out. After practice, they lifted, did film. He came back out. I was sitting talking to Coach Kelsey. He went for another 45 minutes. Game day, shoot around. 45 minutes before shoot around, he's out there. Played, he talks about, he used the word professional. He used that a ton with me. I think he's lost in the game. Is he in love with the game, or is he lost in the game? He's got to find some balance. He's got to get stronger. He's a really interesting prospect. His body's going to get stronger. The Wagler comparison is terrific. It's very similar. I do think he's a point guard. Won't he have a lot more space?
I think both of them are point guards. They make point guard plays. They make point guards read. Yes, I think both of those two guys are point guards. The difference is, can they create opportunities? Everything in this game today is about how do you crack that paint. And when you crack that paint, are you finishing or are you spraying it? Is it going to be a three? Is it going to be a lob? Or are you going to be the guy finishing? But it's all about getting in there. And now, do they have the athleticism and the speed, the quickness to be able to beat NBA defenders off the bounce?
How about the size, though, and the strength?
The size is good, right? The strength is not. And when he does get to that spot, and going back to that game against Baylor, he threw the ball all over the arena. Like sometimes he was looking for that home run pass versus just making the simple read and allowing that next pass to get to the guy that was going to be open and opening it up because you made the simple pass. He was trying to thread it through such a small window that it was unnecessary, in particular in transition. And those are areas of maturity and understanding that he can grow at.
But I guess my question, I'm not trying to be too critical of this young man, but what classifies him as a point guard? When you're a 1-to-1 assist turnover ratio guy.
He makes point guard plays.
Yeah,
he reads screen and roll actions well. He's a very good passer. I mean, no,
But based on the numbers, if you're a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio guy, what classifies
almost 5 assists a game? He's got to be better at decision making, like Sean mentioned, making simpler plays. But you made a great point here, Corey. He sees the floor. He sees the tag. He can throw a pocket pass, but then all of a sudden he's got to understand. And it was a while early. Right? You go from high school to college, those windows close. It's like a quarterback thrown in against the DB. Like the closing speed and length of an NBA player compared to a college player, a high school player compared to a college player, is huge. It's split-second decision-making. That's where he's got to
improve. And it's that beat that he's just a beat late on that window.
And it's a turnover.
So can we classify A.J. DeBronte as a point guard then, based off your reasonings?
No, you don't. A.J. DeMonson played alongside Rob Wright, who was the point guard.
Yeah.
But A.J. DeMonson, when you look at his reads, he was able to read the backside tag. He was able to read the second layer.
Hold on 1 second. That's the reason why we all got him number one.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. But when you look at a guy like A.J. DeMonson, you look at a guy like Michael Brown, a point guard, if your point guard had a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, you're not a happy man.
He averaged 4.7 turnovers a game?
He's a 1-to-1. When you look at his overall numbers, I can go pull up the exact numbers.
4.7 assists a game.
But how many turnovers?
I got to look.
We got to break.
A.J. DeMonson has a feel for the game, and he's a point forward.
Let's get Gil Bransford on it. 1.52 assist-to-turnover ratio. It's been confirmed. We're coming back to Chicago.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back.
Break away to what's possible with Tremfya.
The only IL-23 blocker for Crohn's and UC to offer self-administration from the start.
Tremfya can help with symptom relief as early as 4 weeks, remission at 12 weeks, 1 year, and 2 years.
Some had visible repair of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Break away with Tremfya.
Backed by over 15 years of clinical research. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
America, this tournament might be fought on the pitch, but it'll be won in the backyard barbecues. Nice save. That guy looks like Tim Howard.
I am Tim Howard.
Jim Beam, official spirit of U.S. soccer.
Let's be honest. Painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much did we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
The NBA continues its support of an NMDP blood stem cell donor registry drive honoring longtime Celtics and USA basketball trainer Ed Lasert, who is currently battling leukemia. The league has partnered with the NMDP all season to host donor drives in areas across the country, and that effort continues this week here in Chicago, helping connect patients with potentially life-saving matches, with everyone across the league sending their support and best wishes to Ed for a full recovery. You see the Brooklyn Nets on social media, 30 teams, 1 goal. The NBA family coming together to help Ed Lasert. Back in Chicago, and we're wishing Ed the very best in his recovery. Back with Jeremy Wu, Bobby Marks here. Jeremy, we've spent a lot of time talking about the guards here and some of the bigs here in this draft class as well. And you want to continue the conversation on bigs. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, well, I think Adai Mara is the guy who the conversation starts with when we look at the 5s in this draft. I think it's a really interesting group. It's not something that was viewed as one of the strengths of the class. But you've got guys who really, I think, as the season went on, you saw them improve. Mara, in the context of Michigan especially, they let him play with more freedom. He got in great shape this year. He was getting up and down at 7'3" barefoot. So great dimensions, unique skill. I mean, he's the closest thing to like a unicorn center there is in this class, right?
Well, and I think it goes back to the time when he first got recruited to UCLA. I mean, you look at his international resume and what the expectations were when he arrived into Westwood was that he was going to be a player that would fulfill the promise of being a lottery-type pick. And part of that, and one of the biggest reasons, was his ability to distribute the basketball. He's got excellent feel with the ball in his hands, and you can play off of him. He can make the right reads to cutters. We heard Dusty May yesterday say it took a while for our guys to understand that we had a center that was going to throw behind the back passes when he's posting up off the block in that mid-post area.
Yeah, he can also shoot a trail 3. You can use him as a hub, in the middle of the floor, which is important. Not Paul Gasol, but Paul Gasol-ish. He's got legitimate size and length. I mean, his ability to protect the rim, needs to rebound it a little bit better. But his skill set, his size, and his body, he's gotten stronger. Like, you look at him at UCLA and you look at him right now, and his body has really improved.
You know, one of the things that he mentioned when I talked to him is that his conditioning got better as the season went on, and he was able to play longer stretches. Certainly in the Final Four here, where he didn't have to be taken off the court, that he could play longer stretches here. And I think certainly with the bigs here, I mean, like Jaden Qantas from Kentucky is kind of like a wild card.
Is he the biggest if in the draft?
I would think so, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, and he's a guy who teams are super curious about his medicals, what kind of shape is his knee in, because he's such a good athlete. He's I think the defensive film on him from Arizona State and his statistical production with, steals and blocks, I mean, that really popped for people. So they were curious to see him coming into the year. We only got 4 games of him. I was at his best game against St. John's, and he outplayed Zuby Ejiofor in that game. A guy who's older than him and quicker than him. So,
Bobby, how do you view a guy that has, we talked about this a little bit last year with Cedric Coward, right? He only played, 6 or 7 games at Washington State before he was done for the season. You're looking at Quayton's, and you may have a full season of what he was able to do defensively, or at least most of the season defensively of what he did at Arizona State, but a very limited opportunity to see what he could do this year. How would you in the front office view a player like him?
I would love to have 2 picks in the first round. That's how I would look at him. So if I am Oklahoma City, who's at 12 and 17, I believe, and Charlotte, who's at 14 and 18, if I can get something I want with one of those first picks and then have that kind of as an insurance policy if there, I feel like his upside is worth it. That would be certainly the lack of bigs that potentially could be in free agency. A team like Charlotte that needs a big, Oklahoma City is interesting because Thomas Sorber, who they drafted last year, was out most of the year. Who's a big for them. But that's how I would kind of view it. If I had a second pick in this year's draft in the first round.
You look at Quintus as a Mitchell Robertson type. Some people say he's more skilled offensively, but I mean, elite ball screen defender, elite rim protector, rebounds balls out of his area. Changes ends of the floor. How do you look at, first of all, it's just so hard to evaluate him because we have so little really real data on him.
Yeah, I saw him a little bit in high school, and there were flashes. I mean, his frame has always been something that set him apart. He's always had kind of a grown man body, and Robert Williams is his name too. Maybe a little bit more similar physically. Yeah. Mitchell's a little bit taller, but same role, right? Roll and catch and dunk and protect the rim and wall off the paint, and it's more like how do you want a guy like that, and then. Do you want to take a risk on a guy like that? Or you look at Merez Johnson, who does similar things. He's healthier. He tested amazing. He's had a really good week here, right? It might be a safer play.
As you look at this from your perspective, as you're doing these mock drafts, which you do for us at ESPN, when you look at Morris Johnson, what's the buzz right now from what he was able to do on the night where they measured his metrics and we were able to see his speed, his versatility, his shooting numbers were, I think, a little bit higher than a lot of people expected coming into this?
Yeah, I mean, he measured 6'9" barefoot. I think teams knew he had a plus wingspan, but, being a true 6'9" barefoot, that's, center dimensions, right? It's like, are you undersized or not? But he's got the length. He's big enough. He's so quick. I mean, he had one of the best lane drill times, better than a lot of wings and guards. So, again, only so much really you can put into the test. But when you see a guy that big moving like guys, much smaller than him, that means something, right?
Where do you see Tarris Reed?
Yeah, Tarris Reed, I mean, I thought he was solid today in the scrimmage from what I caught. I think he's reliable, right? He's not as vertical an athlete as Morez, but played so well down the stretch in the tournament. I think another guy who was ready to play. He showed a little bit of passing stuff today I liked.
He's very good passing.
Yeah, so it's, it's sort of a similar thing, right? You need a guy to come and sort of sponge up minutes and get you through that regular season. And if you're a playoff team, especially. Exactly. So if you can grab one of those guys, 25 to 35, which is, I think, probably where his range is, I think it's valuable.
Ruben Chinyelu was another guy that played today that I thought he did a very good job of staying within what his strengths are out on the floor. He showed great defensive versatility, which we all knew. You don't have to watch a lot of Florida tape to realize how he can shift and guard multiple defensive positions. But then also his offensive rebounding, his positioning from 3 feet in, screening, and then rolling to the rim. I thought he showed really well in the first game.
100%. Yeah, he may end up back at Florida, but we know what he can do, and if he's back here next year, we'll know. He's reliable.
Speaking of metrics, Adai Mara, 9'9" standing reach. Only Taco Fall had a longer standing reach. How about Henry Vasar?
Yeah, another guy who I think is in that range in the late first. Can pick and pop, can space the floor a little bit, hit a 3. He had a really good year at Carolina, playing next to Caleb Wilson. Those guys fit well together because you could see the passing. Caleb played off of him well. A guy who is another target, if you need size, and everybody is going back to playing double bigs right now. So you see that trend. These guys aren't going in the top 10, but in the next pocket, 15 to 30, 35, there are a lot of bigs who I think can help in different ways.
And one of those, Chris Sinak.
Yes.
Interesting prospect because he improved defensively throughout the course of the season at Houston, and it's tough to play if you're not playing defense for Kelvin Sampson. You also know he can be coached hard, which he certainly was. At times he had a shot selection where he relied on his perimeter jump shot a little bit too much.
What's the one thing he does really well, Sean? Is there one thing, say, that's a question.
I think what he does well is one-on-one post defense. I thought he held his position very well as the season went along. And I thought after the Texas Tech game where he struggled with the physicality of that game, you saw a little bit more of a concerted effort to be an elite level rebounder. He was challenged specifically because I had the next game. He was challenged specifically to start impacting the game at that end. And I think the biggest example of that was the 18 rebound performance that he had in the opening round of the NCAA tournament.
And that's a big reason why, one of the questions that have come up with him as far as why didn't he block his blocks per game, I think was less than 1.
Yes.
And I asked him that when I talked to him, and he said, well, Coach Sampson made an effort. Don't worry about blocking shots. Go rebound the ball for us.
Yeah.
I got one more. Koa Pete, who was a guy who exploded onto the scene as a freshman, and he had glimpses, and he played in the national championship. But on the first night here, he didn't exactly excel in some of the measurables.
Yeah, he's an interesting case. He's a unique player. He's a guy who's, I think truly testing. There is a chance he goes back to Arizona. I know that the door is open for him if he wants to return. Didn't shoot well in the shooting drills. That was his shot looked a little different than teams were expecting. Didn't have much success there. That's something I don't think, it's not going to help him, right? It's not no one expected him to make every shot, but something that, in workouts, if that's what teams see, they might say, hey, go back, keep working on this. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah.
Can you be an effective player at the NBA level at 6'7" with a range that appears to be the middle of the paint and where you play primarily with your back to the basket? They're not going to put him in that situation in the NBA level.
Yeah. It's a fair question to ask. Another fair question to ask is,
he's got 29.
How much better has Cam Carr's stock gotten after today? 29, including 6 made threes in Chicago.
The AWS NBA Draft Combine is presented by AWS. It's how the NBA brings fans inside the game.
Same-day delivery for free. For real. Members get more at Lowe's.
Howdy, Roadrunner. You're very fast.
Well, I drink Red Bull.
But you do realize...
Yes, Red Bull gives you wings, but, I'm scared of heights.
Oops.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Summer Edition, with the taste of Sudachi Lime. Wings for your summer.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond, with airless tires designed for exploring new frontiers. Michelin, motion for life.
Gravity Defier for life. IMS for life.
Let's be honest. Painting can be a pain.
This doesn't look good.
How much do we spend at that paint store?
Way too much.
That's why we made Bear Dynasty, the #1 rated interior paint. Now get 10% off when you buy 3 or more gallons.
Hang on.
There is a child whose past holds the key to the future of the galaxy.
Everything depends on him.
So do we run or do we fight?
Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Rated PG-13. Get tickets now.
We got a big UFL doubleheader coming your way Saturday. DC visits Louisville at noon Eastern. And then Houston takes on St. Louis. DC and Houston in a three-way tie with Orlando all atop the UFL. You can catch both games on ESPN and stream the action anytime on the ESPN app. Back here inside Wintrust Arena in a game where Cam Carr of Baylor has 29, Jacoby Gillespie of Tennessee has 28.
And at this point, it's no longer a competition amongst the other team. It's simply a competition between those guys to see who can put up the biggest number at this point.
Well, Age goes 7 rebounds with the 29 points and the multiple block shots that he's had. I mean, I think he showcased exactly what he wanted to in this setting today. And
these 4 guys that we have on the screen, they're playing like who they are. You know, Jacoby Gillespie is really a 2-guard. Yeah. Who could score, who could run your team if he has to, but his best position is
maybe a combo guard?
It's called a ball guard. And Nick Boyd is doing what he does. I mean, the good thing is these guys are playing to their strengths. They're showing people kind of the essence of what their game is. They're not playing outside of themselves, including Martinelli. So, Carl, let me ask you, and Bobby, how many of these guys won't play tomorrow? Their agents will shut them down.
Cam Carr and Jacoby Gillespie.
For sure. Right?
Those 2 guys. You know what? Gillespie most likely would be out there.
Yeah,
I think Gillespie would play tomorrow.
Carr, I would think Carr definitely. I mean, he was a projected, I think Jeremy had him in his first round projection here. And I think what he was able to do today, and, he was at Tennessee for 2 years. He goes to Baylor and really takes off certainly in a more of an expanded role there at Baylor. And I think that's what teams wanted to see here as far as his ability to score, ability to shoot. 6 of 12 from 3. Yeah.
A different situation than a lot of the guys that are out on the floor because he is projected to be a first-round pick. So from a front office perspective, Bobby, when you're watching a guy that's projected to be a first-round pick, when there's nobody else really that's projected as a first-round pick in this game, playing out on the floor, and then having him play as well and assertive as he has throughout the course of this game, what are you looking at and evaluating or taking away that adds to what you already knew before you showed up?
The ability to rebound the ball. I think that stands out for me. He's got 7 rebounds here. I think he's done other things just besides scoring the basketball here. I think that's important. Listen, I think where this draft is, and we've talked a lot about the top 10 or top 11 players here. I think there's a lot of players that are kind of, figuring out how to kind of get into that top 20 and get out of the 20s here. And I think he's certainly one of those players.
We showed a graphic earlier today. Of course, Giannis at 15. Some great players at 15. Tyrese Maxey was 21. Yeah. And again, there is definitely value in a lot of these later first-round picks, and that's where we talk about guys that make that decision as to whether, especially if you have the chance to go back to school and even make more money, probably that 26th through 30th first-round pick. But there's value later in that first round where you can get a guy that may not help you day one. But, I mean, Tyrese Maxey, I remember him as a rookie, and Doc Rivers was wondering when he could play him, when to get him on the floor. He had to get better at this area. But now, look, he's a 2-time All-Star. And there's so much value you can find in guys later in the first round.
Well, and that's the difficulty, though, is because those teams that are drafting at the end of the first round are good, are really good. They're in their quote-unquote championship-type window. They're in conference final-type windows. And so it makes it difficult to bring in somebody that you're drafting that late and putting them on that roster and asking them to deliver night in and night out.
I'm going to ask Bobby this. Matt Abel.
Yeah, I just saw him on the concourse.
All right. Came off the bench.
The Carolina coaches were hovering around. I saw them there. They're sweating it out a little bit here.
I mean, 8 points a game.
Yeah.
Young body. Really good shooter. Good pedigree. Blows up here. How, as a decision maker, how are you evaluating him, knowing that these are exhibitions? Yeah. There's no defensive game plan. They're not, but he's a really talented guy that if you do get the end of like 29-30, potentially 3 years from now, at 23 could be a special player.
Well, it's a big upside pick. I think it's like kind of almost buying stock in something that hasn't matured yet. You're going to buy stock in him. I think for him, he's got a decision to make as far as going to North Carolina, who was at NC State last year. Is there a can he get a guarantee in the first round? I think if you're his agent, Todd Ramisar, you're going to collect as much information over the next 10 days to figure that out. That's a huge decision. It's not like the old days where, the ability to go back, the difference between him going to North Carolina and being in a first round, there's a considerable financial gap also here. But I've always said this, there are a lot of players who, finances aside, they want to play in this league. Yeah. They want to be a first-round pick, and I think that's certainly for him. That's one of his goals there.
What stood out most to you while you watched him play in that first game?
Well, his shooting. I think that was one of the things. As far as there's some inconsistencies from deep. I think he goes 3 for 5 from 3 here. His ability to run a team, his athleticism, that stood out. I thought this year at NC State it was kind of an uneven year. Certainly since February, kind of curl-tailed a little bit here. So that's what I wanted to see him in a different environment than what he was this year.
He played on a team. The ball was in Copeland's hands 70% of the time. I mean, he was the hub of their offense, and everyone else had to play off of him.
And rightfully so. I mean, you've been in that seat before. Your job at the college is to win games.
100%.
Right? And again, if you have the ability and have the guys that you can not only win games, but you can develop into NBA players as well, that's a bonus. But your job as a college coach is to win games. Will Wade put the basketball in Quadre Copeland's hands because they were the best hands to have the basketball in. Quadre Copeland led the ACC in assists this year. And NC State had some great moments. They also had a slide down the stretch, as Bobby mentioned. But Matt Abel coming off the bench and having strong performances. Specifically, I can remember calling a game where they beat North Carolina at home. He was spectacular in that game. And again, part of the reason why so many different of the NBA personnel, et cetera, were watching.
I think he's one of the guys that's going to have an interesting. On the other side, we talked about Cam Carr playing. How does an NBA decision maker look at a guy like Malik Thomas not playing?
Yeah, I still go by the body of work. I still go by the body of work of what they've done in college, whether it be one or a couple of years here. But I still go back. We were sitting on stage a few years ago when A.J. Mitchell played.
Yep.
And he's picking up guys half court. It does go, and I'm sure Sam Presti had scouted him a lot at UC Santa Barbara. But there are some things you can pull from here as far as on the court. But this is for some players, this is not an easy process. It's kind of when you go to Portsmouth and you're kind of putting teams together and guys are playing out of position and doing things they're not accustomed to do here. But I do think there's some value pulling some things out of this 5-on-5.
And another thing, too, Bobby, it's not as much just the college game that they're evaluating now. When you consider, the Nike Academy, Chris Paul, Jason Tatum camps, these NBA scouts see these players so much in the summertime, et cetera. Oftentimes, before they even get to their college season, guys know this is someone that we're going to watch all season long.
Well, it's like if you're going to study for the test the night before, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
You better start studying like a year, maybe not for me, but a year in advance. This is a multi-year process that everyone's going through.
Your book on these guys starts when?
Oh, it started already. Yeah. I mean,
I'm talking about at what age? Like
I think high school.
Right now.
It has to be.
Junior years of high school, right?
Yeah. I can remember watching scouts time and time again, crowding in that small gym at Peach Jam to watch Cameron Boozer play against Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Caleb Wilson talked about it yesterday. He said, if I had to go back and do it again, I would tell myself, you know what? You got to start preparing for it when you're 14 years old. That's what he said to us.
The OG tuned him up.
I tried to tell him. He figured it out, though.
I'd say so.
He figured it out.
All right, so we found the one thing that Cam Carr did not do well today, and it's shoot free throws. He's missed a couple, but sensational here. And if he makes this one, he gets to a nice round number.
His career
30.
high scoring game. Nice stroke, though.
Impressive performance. He came out and did exactly what he wanted to do and what he needed to do.
We can talk a lot and credit to Nick Boyd and Otega Owe and Nick Martinelli playing well for Team Weems. But the takeaway from the second scrimmage of the day was the play of Cameron Carr and Jacoby Gillespie. Carr goes for 30. Gillespie goes for 28. Both of them shot the lights out from three-point range. An impressive showing in the second scrimmage of the day here at the NBA Draft Combine. Carr, a guy projected to go, according to our Jeremy Wu, inside the top 20. Gillespie, a player who will have a chance again tomorrow to back up a sterling performance of 28 points, 5 of 8 from behind the arc.
I've been blown away with what we've seen here over the last 2 days. Like, from the stars that we knew were going to be stars to how they've handled this spotlight of being here with all the eyes on them, to guys like Cam Carr taking a chance and investing in himself and saying, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to showcase what I can do, and then delivering upon that with the performance that we just saw. This has been an impressive combine here in Chicago.
And it's one of the when I sat with Mike Dunleavy from the Warriors, because Mike gets drafted in 2002, I believe. The maturity level of players, I think, now are a lot different than, and no offense to 20 years ago, but I think yours are 30. Is that 30? 30, yeah. I think the maturity level is a lot different. I think, listen, these guys are professionals. We could say as much as they've gone through college and everything like that, the ability, where they are right now, they know what's at stake. They've going through these interviews and what's at stake on the court. But it's been a really strong group.
Speaking of interviews, you play like Cam Carr did, you play like Jacoby Gillespie did, you get a post-game interview with Vanessa Richardson.
As his teammates surround him, Jacoby, you played with a lot of poise, a lot of control. What do you hope that you showed teams today out here?
Just that I feel like our whole team, we just wanted to show we some dogs, and we taking full advantage of this opportunity.
What have you learned through this pre-draft process?
Just how we can compete every game, compete every day with a whole bunch of great players, and, yeah, we're taking the opportunity.
What did you guys like about playing with each other today? How did this team click?
We clicked immediately. I feel like off the court we've already created a bond with each other, and it showed today.
You have great court vision, of course, fantastic shooting. What is an NBA team going to get if they draft you?
Like you said, just a bucket, able to shoot the ball from deep and pesky on defense.
I know that you've dreamed of this journey for a long time. What's it like to be finally going through this process and so close?
It's a blessing to finally be here and to be able to show what I can do on the biggest stage.
Great game.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great job all of the past 2 days by Vanessa Richardson there courtside. Jacoby Gillespie was scintillating with 28. Cam Carr goes for 30. We promised great ball, and you saw it today here inside Wintrust Arena. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the 2 days of the NBA Draft Combine right after this.
My car insurance bill doubled? You should try Insurify. In just a few clicks, you can compare rates from dozens of insurance companies. And you could... I just got the same coverage for half the price. Hey, that's what I was going to say. Go to Insurify.com and save up to $1,000 a year on your car insurance.
The first day back from maternity leave is so weird. We get it. Find a caregiver who does too. When it's not you, it's care.com.
Don't know how to handle all this? Thumbtack knows. Get recommendations for all your home projects. Hire the right pro today.
Switch your business to ramp.com.
If this were a Hollywood movie, what would be your perfect story?
We'd be lying if it wasn't Premier League or something like that. Why not dream big?
Wrexham is just one step away from the top league of world football.
Make no mistake, it is cutthroat.
Just reminding you to breathe.
We're in with the big boys now.
I'm in love. Come on!
FX's Welcome to Wrexham premieres May 14th on FXX, Hulu, and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers.
Golf's second major tees it up right here as the first round of the PGA Championship gets underway tomorrow, noon Eastern. You can catch it live on ESPN. Stream every shot on the ESPN app. You get Jordan Spieth eyeing the career Grand Slam. Scotty Scheffler, the defending champion. PGA Championship, noon Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. Back with Coach Seth Greenberg, Corey Alexander, Sean Farnham, Bobby Marks here. Bobby, NBA GMs outside the top 5 are leaving Chicago these past 72 hours with what impression about this draft class?
I think it's the depth of the first round. I think certainly we've talked a lot about the top 4 players here and the guards in the top 10 here, but I think if you're a team that's picking in the teens or even the early 20s, I think there's, I don't want to say satisfaction that you'll find a player, but I think teams have a better idea as far as who could be there. And then what's left in the second round, certainly with NIL as far as who goes back within the next 10 days.
For me, what I'm leaving with is this freshman class came in with as much hype and as much expectation of any group that we've seen in college basketball in recent memory. They exceeded that expectation over the course of the college basketball season. How they conducted their business here, once again, has exceeded expectations, and there's a lot of really happy teams that are in that lottery.
I'm only looking to see over the next 5 weeks with those conversations that were had out here in these stands determine as far as that draft order. I don't believe we'll see those teams draft in that order by the time we get to June 23rd. And those conversations absolutely started here at this combine. Of course, the draft lottery was just Sunday night. I think that we may see some movement in that lottery alone, especially throughout this first round, and who impressed someone that much where they feel like they need to make a move to get them.
To me, it's all about the maturity and the poise of these young, talented players and how they carry themselves, how they handle themselves, how they interact with each other, the media, and then the way they play. Because you just saw Cam Carr, who didn't have to play, came out and played with great energy. But then to see the post game where they're celebrating each other, whether it's fabricated or not. These guys are learning, understanding how to be teammates, and everything they do, people are evaluating. Really impressive group of young people that are going to be entering the NBA in this next class.
Bobby, the conversation that we came into the combine thinking about most, I think, was who's going to go number 1. Is it going to be A.J. DeBonce? Is it going to be Darren Peterson? Based on the events of the past 48 hours, if you're the Washington Wizards and you have the top pick, who are you taking?
Can I answer in 5 weeks? Honestly, I don't know if they know. I think you have to take this approach where you're bringing both players in, you're evaluating both players internally, and then you come up with that decision, probably the week before, or the weekend before the draft here. I don't think it's not like Victor or Cooper Flagg when it's kind of unanimous. I think you have to do your due diligence over the next 5 weeks here.
I think that's the luxury of being the Washington Wizards. They have that luxury right now. They can sit there, they can listen to it, they can patiently go about their business. They can even listen to offers if they really wanted to. There's a plethora of things that they can do in the path to taking number 1.
I believe that they will not just bring in both players. I think they'll bring in probably 4. And through all that, it's a smoke show. They're taking A.J. DeBonce number 1. And I believe that's the way it's going to go down.
They got all the cards, man. They can make they make the first play all in.
It all plays out when you join us for the NBA Draft, June 23rd on ABC and ESPN. For all of us in Chicago who made these past 2 days happen, so long from the AWS NBA Draft Combine. NBA Today is coming up next.
Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Häagen-Dazs.
Tonight, some of the stuff that Wemby was doing, you don't really have too much of an answer for it.
He wants to come out here and put on a show.
Just kind of hope he misses. But he came out hot. He made a bunch of shots.
Wemby's back. Victor Wembanyama, 16 points, and we haven't even played 6 minutes of Game 5. It was a Spurs night, and they're one win from the Western Conference Finals.
Janae Shump, did you see it? Did you see it? There was an alien sighting last night in San Antonio. I could not be more impressed with the resilience of the Spurs. Here's how they pushed the Wolves to the brink of elimination. Wemby back. Shump, you said you expected a big game from him after being ejected. He came out with an exclamation.
Hey!
Wemby attacking the rim here, driving past Rudy Gobert.
There's
today.
nothing you can do when he does that.
Hey.
Hello.
Excuse me.
You know who agrees with you, Shanae?
Yeah.
Julius Randle.
You're right. It's like, on to the next.
Less than a minute later. Wemby, what are you going to do when he's hitting threes like this?
What are you going to do when he plays inside and out, Malika?
Well, Rudy Gobert was saying the same thing because Wemby had 16 points, 6 of 8 shooting with Gobert as his primary defender. That's in the first quarter alone, though. And then Wemby, he had more blocks here. 3 more blocks for him, his 38 this postseason. That's the second most in a player's first 9 career playoff games since blocks became official. But I thought that this, Shanae, was when Minnesota was going to show their experience. The game all tied up at 60.
Yeah, anytime the game is close, you feel like they still have a chance. The Spurs, they went on timely runs here. But once again, their experience, their poise, they were unwavering, the Spurs. Keldon Johnson, huge for them.
This is probably his best game, Keldon Johnson, of the series. And then once again, Gobert off the miss. The Spurs out in transition. What's you going to do when Dylan Harper's laying it in like that? San Antonio took control of this game in the third quarter. They went on a 30-12 run here. So this is the finishing touches here in the fourth quarter. Harper.
I could cock it back.
Double behind the back. Wemby cannot believe it. San Antonio dominates to take the 3-2 series lead. Here's Wemby.
Victor, after having time to reflect, would you have done things differently? Did you have any regrets about the elbow?
I mean, it was 2 games ago. It's the playoffs. I'm focused. I was focused on the game today, and now I'm focusing on the game in Minnesota in 3 days. It's the playoff. We got to move on, and I got to care about my team.
And he certainly showed that care. Wemby became the 3rd youngest player in NBA history with at least 25 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists in a playoff game. Only Magic Johnson in the 1980 finals, Luka Doncic in the bubble did it at a younger age. So, Sinead, whether or not Wemby said it, his play suggested he felt like he had some making good to do with his team. How did he change this game?
Yeah, the circumstances kind of show that they poked the bear. And you know that line, if you ever find me in the forest with a grizzly bear, help the bear. That's mystical. That's mystical. The bear clawed back. He was truly a game changer. But get this, some stats blow my mind. He had more blocks. He has more blocks than the Timberwolves have field goals when he's a contesting defender.
Whoa.
More blocks. It's wild. Let's talk about how he's the ultimate rim deterrent. This is what David Dennis Jr. calls the hell nas. When are we going to add that stat? Because so many people dribble and they say, hell no, I'm not going to shoot the ball. And instead, he just forces more possessions like this where he can step up as a help defender. The drop-off is there. That normally, 99.9% of the time, that is a dunk by Rudy Gobert, but instead, it's a hell no. Again, on this type of possession, he can guard multiple players, not just in the paint, but also on the perimeter. This is what makes him special. 2 guys like an alien, 2 eyes, he has peripheral vision, but on an island as a center, being able to contest shots like this is huge. Victor Wembanyama, hell no, you're not going to get the shot off. He completely changes the game. 2 different levels and 2 different degrees. I want you guys to take a very good look at this. These are some wild numbers. We have not seen this. This is top 10 in the last 10 seasons. Allowed 0.6 points per play. 26%. That's what people are shooting on Victor Wembanyama. Again, only 1 3-point shot made so far in this series, and he has 22 blocks, which is on pace for most in a series in the last 30 years, which is wild. Again, on this category, I remember that 1-3. It was Anthony Edwards, step back, and I was like, oh, he's got it. But that was 1-3 in an entire series.
Right.
Victor Wembanyama, ultimate defensive game changer.
And he said it, we don't care about the lack of experience that we have, and he's certainly showing that. But again, when the game was all tied up at 61, this was a rock fight. The Spurs, they got out to a big lead, and then Minnesota showed their poise, and I thought that Minnesota's experience maybe would win out down the stretch of this game. What impressed you about what San Antonio did?
I think that San Antonio offered bait
to the Timberwolves.
What does that mean?
There's times during a game that you know how your team plays. You know what y'all hang y'all hat on, but we junk up the game. We bring a guy in off the bench. We hit a three. We feel good about it. We let you guys get out there. We give you a three. You take it. You miss it. We come down, hit another three. You should call a timeout, but y'all are older.
Right.
So you're going to try and roll again. Julius Randle doesn't make whatever play, and then you have an 8-point swing that now just starts an avalanche of scoring for the Spurs. I think that their guards did a great job of saying, while we're doing our thing, we need to make sure that we continue to change sides of the floor. They didn't shoot off balance, and I mean with their team.
Right.
They balanced the floor. They didn't shoot an off balance shot. All of their shots had chances of an offensive rebound. All of their shots felt like the whole gym knew when and who was going to shoot it. When you watch Minnesota, it just felt like, hey, your turn, your turn, your turn. It's like, where's the offense? Where's the actions? Where's the guys that we know need to make plays right now? Because Anthony Edwards didn't see the ball that whole time.
Because there's certain teams that are playing to cover up their holes and cover up what they don't have, and there's other teams that are playing to their strengths and to exploit you.
Completely agree. Victor Wembanyama, when he decides to play inside and out, there's nothing you can do about it. Because then the defense has to shift to the inside, and that creates the easiest spray opportunities for his teammates. Those are the easy reads. Yeah. When he goes outside and in, step back, you're trying to figure out the offense that works without using your ultimate advantage with him on the low post where he attracts, where his gravitational pull is super high. And to me, that's the thing that makes things easy for them. When he decides to get downhill and apply pressure on the rim and play through that lens, it's so much easier for the rest of his teammates.
Without a doubt. It opens up a lot of driving lanes for them, but it also makes mistakes on the other end for everybody else. Right. If he gets by somebody or if he just starts to get a little bit of an advantage, you know the help has to come. Sure. There's nothing anybody could do. Once your help comes over, especially if it's not Rudy Gobert on the ball, if it's him coming over as help, it's about to get sprayed all around over there.
But it's also defensively, right? Because Anthony Edwards has really struggled passing out of the double teams here, and they've really limited what Ant's been able to do, especially in this game.
I even watched him. There was a time that I was thinking, okay, the double team's coming. They're not even doing a double team. If he gives that ball up, he's not getting it back. There's a lot of times that they're just face guarding him and not allowing him any type of openings or anything. But in the double teams that they are getting, I think that Ant-Man is doing a good job of it. It's just he's not getting the ball in scoring positions. Every time he gets a catch, he's got to protect that catch. Every time he has a double team, if he wants to exhaust the dribble, he's going to have to wait and let things open up.
And it's tied to Julius Randle, his productivity, because when you are getting double teamed, you want to get it to the next person that can make the play. And with this being an up-and-down series for Rudy Gobert, that guy has to be Julius Randle. And to me, if he's more effective, you know how it is when it comes to double teams, you got to get the ball out quick. And once it starts becoming bait, it's like blood in the water, and these people, the defenders, are sharks, right? So when he takes like a 1-1,000, 2-1,000, by then it's too late. If it gets to Julius, that's what helps him. But by having that delay, that helps the Spurs.
Okay, so you're Chris Finch. Do you make a change to your starting lineup and put Naz Reid in, but that would mean it would have to be either for Rudy or for Julius Randle?
I am never in the camp that you make a change to your identity just for one game after something has worked. I'm more so of the sense where we're going to give you 2 or 3 minutes. It's a short time, and then we prepare to apply that change for the rest of the game.
Right.
And I know I haven't always been the biggest Rudy Gobert cheerleader, but though Wemby's doing what he's doing, his defensive principles have been great within what he's doing. It's just the guys just got a height advantage.
And the tone is physicality, and that's what Rudy brings. And we all saw what that created for Victor Wembanyama. So you don't want to lose a little bit of that just to gain something else.
Well, they're going to have to find a way to win at home, force a Game 7 here in the series. But Amon said yesterday he thought the winner of Game 5 was going to be taking this one. Let's get to the New York Knicks, and not just because I'm wearing orange. We've got some good news today. OG Anunoby returned to practice. He missed, remember, the last 2 playoff games against the Sixers. He had that hamstring strain. OG, he was the team leader in playoff minutes and second in points behind only Jalen Brunson. So let's get a little bit more on this with our senior insider, Shams Charania. Shams, the Eastern Finals, they could begin as early as Sunday. So what more can you tell us about OG's status as we turn towards those Eastern Finals?
Malika, sources tell me today that the Knicks are optimistic and expecting that OG Anunoby will be in the lineup for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That's barring any setback. Today, he did participate in parts of practice. I'm told he also got an individual on-court workout in as well. He's missed right now exactly 1 week. So the Knicks have been gradually bringing him back along with the hope and optimism that he'll be a go for Game 1.
All right, so there is optimism that he will be ready to go for Game 1. That is huge for the New York Knicks. Shams, let's stick in the East if we could, because you reported on a front office shakeup yesterday in Philadelphia. So here's what we know. We know that Daryl Morey is out, but they're keeping Nick Nurse as head coach. So what led to that decision?
So as far as Daryl Morey is concerned, the Sixers just felt like it was time to turn the page from a front office leadership perspective. 6 seasons for Daryl Morey as head of basketball operations with the Sixers. The team failed to make it out of the second round. But with Nick Nurse, they saw a coach that overcame a 3-1 deficit, ownership, Bob Myers, who's now leading the search for the next executive, all in support of Nick Nurse staying on. He's dealt with a variety of injuries over the last 2 seasons in particular, but now moving forward, Bob Myers, who's the president of sports for 76ers ownership group and all their portfolios, the New Jersey Devils, the Washington Commanders, and the 76ers, Bob Myers will have his imprint on the next hire. He's going to oversee it. You think about executives with 4-time championship architect there. You think about executives with the experience and people that are most sought after, and Bob Myers fits that category. He will now be the person to lead this search, and whoever comes in will partner with Bob Myers moving forward.
All right, interesting. So our friend Bob is going to have a busy couple of weeks here coming up, and we all know how much he likes to get to work. Shams, thank you very much. Appreciate that insight. The Sixers, though, and Bob Myers, they have some decisions to make on some role players in the coming months. But look at this. The nucleus of their team, Embiid, Maxey, George, Shanae, Shump, they're owed a combined $430 million over the next 3 seasons, right? It's also worth noting that VJ Edgecombe will be under team control here, his contract for 3 more seasons. So they got that core still together, despite what Joel said about not knowing about it. Let's talk about the W here on NBA Today. The Fever, they're on the road in Los Angeles. They're still looking for that first win of the season. We have the latest on how they are managing Caitlin Clark's minutes this season. Plus, the Cavs. Shump, they got 0 road wins this postseason, but they're going to need 1 if they're going to win this series against Detroit. How do they flip the script? And we are live back in Chicago for the Draft Combine. AJ Debonsa, he continues to rise above the rest literally, but we're seeing some rookies that are closing the gap. We'll tell you who. That's next on NBA Today. Shanae, you're going to get out there for the shuttle run?
Oh, yeah, I can dust these off.
Storms bring damage. Flex Seal brings solutions. Be prepared with the products that millions trust to keep them safe, dry, and secure. Use Flex Tape for quick emergency repairs. Flex Seal Liquid to keep everything sealed and dry. And Flex Seal Spray to stop all types of leaks. This storm season, defend against damage. Get the original Flex Seal family of products. Available at retailers everywhere because it works.
The best part of icing your knee at night? Soggy bed. I am so happy Tommy Copper invented better ice. I've missed you. Now I just grab it out of the freezer and slip it on. No fuss, no muss, no mess.
Amazingly flexible. The maximum cold your body needs to recover faster from sprains, strains, and pain. Better ice cold treatment makes icing easy. Go to TommyCopper.com today.
This is a keepsake frame. This is actually a photo from my wedding. I'm Adam Weiss, founder and CEO of Keepsake, the mobile app that makes it easy to have your photos printed, framed, and shipped to your doorstep. You just choose a photo that you love, you can preview it in over 100 frames, and in a couple of days, you're gonna receive your photo in a beautiful, handmade frame. So if you've got a special photo on your phone, install the free Keepsake app. We would love a chance to frame it for you.
Is your business hungry for efficiency? You bet it is.
That means you need to streamline your essential workflows, like lunch.
That's why you need Easy Cater, STAT, a mission-critical all-in-one tech platform for ordering food for work. Big groups, budgets of any size, special dietary needs, whatever you need.
That's what EasyCater brings to the table.
Start an order at easycater.com.
You want to see great players? We've got that. You want to see excitement? We've got that. Oh, not quite. Shot of a lifetime. Tremendous shot. That's a beauty. I just don't know what else you could ask for.
The PGA Championship, Thursday through Sunday, live on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. Your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most. Act now and you will receive a free 5-year warranty. Call or go online now.
Fish. Are you certain that's a good idea?
Yeah, I'm just gonna zap it for 20 seconds.
Are you for imprint certain?
Certainty matters. So when you need the right high-quality promotional products, printed perfectly and guaranteed to arrive on time, that's the certainty of 4imprint. Wow your clients, nail your next event, or inspire your team by visiting 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
Millions are trading crypto, but finding the right platform difficult unless you use Kraken. It's simple. Buy, sell, or withdraw anytime. Kraken. Looks good on you.
It's more than love at first sight.
Why is everyone so fired up? It's a Stanley Cup playoffs. And everyone, it's their shot to cup.
Why is everyone so fired up? It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
NBA Today is presented by Haagen-Dazs. Don't rush indulgence. Take your sweet time. That's Dazs.
This is the best freshman class that I can remember. It's just freshman after freshman. It's remarkable.
What a play by young Cameron Boozer.
One highlight after another.
He has been the high-flying 5-star rookie.
Has he got game? From the Raptors. DeBont to the drive. Oh, my.
This freshman class has been exceptional.
We got action. Day 3 of the NBA Combine in Chicago. All 30 NBA teams, they are watching the top prospects make their case to be the top pick. So let's just take some inventory here. This is Jeremy Wu's latest mock draft. He does have A.J. Debonsa going first to the Wizards. And then you can see Darren Peterson to the Jazz, Cam Boozer going third to the Grizzlies. A.J., he spoke just a few hours ago, and he says that he's not dropping from that top spot.
I never had a job before. So, I mean, I was 13, started taking basketball serious. But this is like my first job interview. So my dad's kind of like, you go, this is your job interview. So, you know, come professional, come suit, try to come true. Like, I've been number 1 in the rankings since, 9th grade, and I ain't dropped. So I'm not planning on dropping in the draft.
Dress for the job you want. I love that he showed up in a suit and tie. It's more than we can say for Sean Farnham. Just kidding, my friend. Sean, it's good to see you. We always appreciate you stopping by, and we do know that the big names, they've gone through their measurables, they've gone through their drills. So can you run us through your top 3 takeaways so far that you've seen from the Combine?
Well, first of all, you have to understand this is our school uniform for the NBA Combine. Shams is wearing the same shirt. So if Shams is wearing the same shirt, then I'm okay wearing this shirt. That's first and foremost. Here's my top 3 takeaways, though, so far from the Combine, is A.J. came here, and A.J.'s done exactly what we all expected him to do. His measurables were outstanding at 6'8.5" without shoes. Then you look at the max vert of 42 inches. He showed this elite-level athleticism in everything that he did. He didn't shoot the ball excessively well. Nobody expected him to shoot the ball excessively well. That's the area of his game that he's going to have to continue to improve. And then from an interview perspective, he has done outstanding so far. So he has stated his case to remain in that top spot. Here's the other guy that we've been talking a lot of hype about coming in because we forgot about him down the stretch of the season because of the injuries. But Caleb Wilson, the maturity and the poise of this young man that goes alongside his elite level athleticism, I think he's a guy that as we get closer to this draft is going to continue to move up in the lottery and going to create some intrigue for teams at 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then Morez Johnson Jr. Like, this is a young man that has a decision to make. Does he go back to college? Does he stay? You look at number 20 in the latest mock draft. I'm telling you from what I'm hearing after the way that he shot the ball and the way that he tested, he's a guy that could have the potential to move all the way up into the lottery. That's how well he's performed here in Chicago.
Wow, and this is what the Combine is all about. Guys like that are able to raise their stock here. But since we're talking about Morris Johnson Jr., one of his college teammates, right? He has also been impressive, generating some buzz, I'm hearing. What is your impression of Adai Mara these last couple of days?
Freakish measurables, right? Like, I mean, you just look at how long he is, and then you watch the way he developed and his playmaking ability, his passing skill set as a big. What has improved more than anything, I think, has been his shooting ability. He worked a lot with Don McClain in the build-up to come here to the draft, and you saw that consistency in his release and shot it a lot better than I think people anticipated for him, too. And with his size, yes, there's going to be, you know, his lateral quickness isn't going to be elite, but that wingspan can take up a lot of space. He can impact the game at the defensive end of the floor and also apply pressure on the rim.
Switching gears here, Sean, before we let you go, there's some action I'm seeing going on behind you. I'm trying to see who's on the court. What are you going to be watching for today?
Well, I think there's a couple guys right now that, Malika, are already, I'm sitting around, and there's a lot of general managers and scouts around here, so as I walked over from our set, we're covering this all on ESPN2. I think Matt Abel is starting to create a little bit of buzz for himself. He's one of the youngest prospects here. They've put him at the lead guard position. He has played very well. Of course, he is looking to potentially play at North Carolina next year. He's going to have a decision to make. Ruben Chinyelu, the big man from Florida, doing exactly what you would anticipate him doing. Offensive rebounds, setting massive screens. He's probably the best defensive player in this draft as far as the bigs go, with his versatility and lateral quickness and outstanding wingspan. He'll have a decision to make as well, but he's all out on the floor. And later on today, Cam Carr, a projected first-round pick, maybe even inside the top 20, he has elected to play in the second scrimmage that'll take place here in Chicago.
I love when guys that are, you know, I'm fairly confident about where I'm going to go in the draft. They still decide to participate in the scrimmage so we all can see, generate that buzz.
It's like me when I come on your show, Malika. I'm fairly confident that I'm going to come on, but if you ask, I'm going to show up and I'm going to deliver.
Yes, see, this is what we're talking about. And in uniform, as always. Sean Farnham, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the Combine. Shanae, did you know that we are sitting amongst Combine greatness?
Oh, wait,
Did you know that?
Wait, I think I'm starting to sense it coming from this direction.
Amon Shumpert, 2011, he stole the show, right? He had the standing vertical, right? He had the highest leap. You tied for the highest max vertical leap. And by the way, my man had 18 reps at 185 pounds on the bench press. He was pushing some weight.
Dude, you were a mega star. Dude,
I'm a guy.
Did you know you're gonna do that? You're like, I got all of these.
You know what SGA say? I got all the answers to the test. Yeah, I just got to know the questions or whatever. What they didn't, talk about when I did go through that run, I was training for that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I knew the Combine. The cool thing about the Combine was...
There he is.
Prior to that, you had to do the workouts. A lot of those workouts ended up being by yourself a lot of times, or you got put into matchups, and getting put in matchups where guys get into matchups, people stopped working out with me. So I had to find another way.
Did you figure out why they stopped working out with you?
Yeah, because they started realizing
185.
without a system in place, a lot of people can impose their will. I think that the Combine, for certain athletic guys, you can really take advantage of that opportunity, especially if you can hone in on all the little events.
One really quick follow-up. Do you think you can still get those numbers now?
You got to give me a little time now. You know what I'm saying? Give me a little time. I don't know about the max jump.
What about are you cool for like a couple?
Average person bench 185. I feel like
yes.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. You got to be a man.
You're saying I'm pushing
I got to be a man.
Okay, I know what the last segment of our show is going to be.
Y'all heard it. 185. I'm throwing it around.
We got a lot to get to, my friends. I can't do that.
Well, you're not even 185.